All right, ladies and gentlemen, William is in the room. This might come as a shock to nobody, but he's just printing off his speech for a quick minute, so he should be ready to go any second. You good, William?
I am fabulous.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, good evening and thank you for coming today. It is a time to celebrate and honor Mr. William Groot. My name is Joel Dykesman and I've had the privilege of being your MC and host for the day. But before we get going, it is important to acknowledge a few key members that without them, this night would not be possible. So, first of all, I want to give a huge shout out to the primary team that helped to plan and make this event happen. So, in no particular order, Elaine, Joni, Rachel, Leanne, Victoria, Mark, Jesse, and Amy Grin. Thank you. A few teachers were commenting today that they haven't seen the Commons look this nice in a lot of years. So, yeah, it's very beautiful. So thank you, Amy, for your vision, and the rest of the planning team. The execution of the event has gone off really well, so thank you. To the staff of TD who contributed and will contribute tonight in various ways, a special shout out obviously to those running the tech, the PowerPoint, the sound, camera, lights. Thank you for making us sound and look good. Thank you to the many parents, volunteers who baked, decorated, worked in the parking lot, served, and many more different ways that you've served. A huge thank you to our caterer, Ms. Michelle Van Zoomen, for the amazing food. You have fed the TD community, yeah, absolutely. Michelle and team, you have fed our community well for many years, yeah, we just love that you're part of our community. And thank you to each of you who are here tonight. We're ready to celebrate the time, the effort, the prayer, the work, the tears, the cheers, the energy, but most importantly, the love that William has shared with the community for over 43 years. So, let's get on with the evening. When I first asked William how he would like to be honored with his retirement, he replied in less than 3 seconds. He said, "I would like it to be a roast." Well, we thought that an entire evening poking fun of William was inappropriate. He then requested that I MC the event. So, this might be just another example of his time here at TD. He might not get what he wants right away, but he will find a way to get it either by changing the name of something, somehow convince you it was your idea, or simply come up with so many ideas you end up picking some variant of his original idea so that you can just find rest and move on. So, William, you might get a little roast after all. William, it's about time. Speaking of time, before we get any further, Colin, you owe me 20 bucks because you bet me that he would be here on time. Here is a text I received today from William at 3:52. Okay, ETA 4:08 to 4:10. Some things don't change. Thank you. This joke is we had to change it at 3:52 because originally I was going to give him $20 because he was here on time, so I guess who's the fool in all of this? For anyone who knows William well, you may have just experienced one extra time zone you didn't learn about in school. On our leadership team here at TD, we call it William Standard Time. I'm sure there will be more than one reference to William and your ability to tell time, but to start off, I wanted to give you this clock. It's actually from room 10, so you can't actually keep it. But as you retire, time might become less important to you. And as we know you're retiring, you'll have more time for things like Lorraine. So this year, on Lorraine's birthday, when she tells you to be home by 5 p.m., which has probably never happened, you can take this clock with you and show her that even though it's actually 6:15, it's 5 p.m. in William Standard Time. There you go. The battery's in your office. Alright, next slide. 43 years is a long time. Just to give you a tiny sense of the Canadian context of things that have happened in the last 43 years, here's a few. Number one, in 1982, the Canada Act is passed. 1989, NAFTA was passed with the US. We won't get into any more trade talk for the rest of the evening. 1990, the Oka crisis. 1996, Donovan Bailey won gold at the 1996 Olympics. In 2006, Steve McLean became the first Canadian to operate Canadarm2. In 2015, Arthur MacDonald won the Nobel Peace Prize in Physics. And 0 Stanley Cup victories for the Toronto Maple Leafs. So while the ineptitude of the Leafs is enough to make a grown man cry, William, we know that you also have found yourself getting emotional from time to time. And while you said, and I quote, "I don't think I'll cry at my retirement, I think I'll be fine," we didn't believe you. So besides the clock, we got you a second gift. Gobber, bring it in. Should do it. Now that we've set you up for success, we can really begin the evening. So without further ado, and sorry for the segue, Ms. Gretton, I'd like to invite Ms. Annika Gretton up to lead us in devotions.
Thanks a lot, Joel. So I'm Annika Gretton. I'm a service VP here at TD, and I am honored to do devotions with you today. Isn't it neat that our faith is passed down from generation to generation, not with a set of philosophical propositions, and not with an arbitrary list of instructions, but woven through the scriptures from Genesis to Revelation, our faith is shared with a story. It's a story of creation, fall, redemption, and restoration. God designed us with a need for story. Stories allow us to make sense of who God is and who we are, why we're here, and where we're going. So several years ago, I sat down with William in August, and I asked him to tell me the story of TD Christian. And from my interviews with William and others, I wrote down the story of our school, and I shared it with our staff on a PD day a few years ago. The committee that organized today's celebration for William asked me to share it again with you as a devotional story today. It's not the story of William. I hope we'll hear lots of great William stories today, but this one's not a William story. It's also not a superhero story. It's not a story of magnificent people rocketing our school to the place it is today. It's a story about God. It's a story of God working through flawed human beings who learn for service in the light of God's word. So, here's our story. In the early 1960s, a group of Christians, including Liz Sharda's dad, felt called to start TD Christian High School to serve the Toronto area. They held a deep love for God, for their children, for each other, and for the world. And they wanted their children to know God, and to really know Him by inviting Jesus into every square centimeter of life, serving God in their academics, in their athletic sportsmanship, in their social connections, and in all of life. Some people say the first year of TD Christian was 1962, when a grade 9 class started at Timothy Christian School. Others say the first year of TD Christian was in 1963, when classes started for almost 50 grade 9 and 10 students in the basement of Second Christian Reformed Church on Albion Road. Either way, God blessed our new school with a great group of students who were ready to learn, invested families, and innovative teachers. But God was not done. Would you guys say those 4 words with me? God was not done. God was not done. Thank you. The story of our school is the story of God continuously at work, hard at work. So whenever you see me raise 4 fingers in the air, 4 fingers for that 4-word sentence, would you say with enthusiasm that God was not done? Let's practice again. God was not done. Very well done. You're a great class. Over the next 2 years, the land that we're standing on now was purchased, and the first school building was built here. It opened in 1965 with 130 students from grade 9 to 12. Toronto District Christian High School was here to serve God and to serve the community. But polarization and a lack of grace wormed its way into our fledgling school. When the school was just 6 years old, the community fractured. The people that I talked to remember that the symbol of this rift was the book, The Catcher in the Rye, and whether or not it should be taught. And in 1969, the entire staff resigned. This brand new building was empty. That same year, Joni Kaniba's parents enrolled her in a local public school because everybody thought our school would not survive. But God was not done. Somehow, the community hired an entirely new staff for September 1969. And in the middle of all that uncertainty, Joni actually started grade 9 at our school. Our school actually grew tremendously during that time. In 1972, 4 classrooms were added, and then in 74, 2 more classrooms, a staff room, a student commons, an art room, and a library were all added to the school building. Joni remembers all the students participating in a 30-mile walkathon. That is 48 kilometers in 1970 to raise money for that 1972 edition. There was a song written by Gary Hoekstra with the refrain, "We're gonna walk, 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 walk for the school. We're gonna sweat, 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 sweat for the school because we need more room. We've got growing pains. We want the loot. Put on the boots. We're gonna walk, 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 walk for the school." It was an exciting. It was an exciting time. On September 26, 1972, Paul Henderson scored the winning goal against Russia in the Summit Hockey Series with 34 seconds left in the game. Everyone wanted to watch the game, so they all crammed into what is now David Hagen's room to witness the game on a TV perched on top of a filing cabinet. Another notable event occurred in 1974 when William Groot started here at grade 9. At the time, the students took a medical exam before starting high school, and William was so glad to be a full 101 pounds at the start of grade 9. But the excitement of growth and physical growth for William, the hockey victories, all of that joy did not remove the pain and division that the community still felt in the aftermath of the Catcher in the Rye rift. There was an unhealed brokenness there. But God was not done. 1977 brought some very interesting staff actions, but more importantly, 1977, our community took a pivotal step towards healing the brokenness that followed the 1969 conflict. Bill Barneveld was one of the teachers who resigned in 1969. And in 1977, he chose to return to our school, and he was hired as the principal. He led our school for 17 years. Our school became known for service in the Woodbridge community. There were ads in the local Vaughan Weekly and the Toronto Star that talk of TD students doing chores for free. There was an ad for Service Day in the TD local newspaper. The whole school participated in cleaning up the hall in March after a tornado tore through it on May 31st in 1985. There was a strong sense of everyone working together towards a common purpose of service to others. The school grew, and it was filled to capacity with nearly 400 students by 1990. But an economic downturn, coupled with rising busing costs, made Christian education just untenable for many families. And in just 3 years, from 1991 to 1994, the student population fell from 398 students to 252. The financial picture was really bad. Joni Kaniba remembered talking to parents who worried once again that the school would close. There were 4 talented teachers, one of which was William, who planned their exit. William interviewed at a school in Hamilton and was offered the job. But God was not done. Bren Sievinga was hired as the new principal in 1994. And he gathered together all the stakeholders in TD Christian, the students, the staff, the parents, the alumni, the board members, the pastors, local church members, elementary school members, everyone. And together they forged a renewed vision for TD Christian that was focused on educating teens for service in this world in the light of God's Word. Karen Burke began to rejuvenate the music program. The Director of Finance and Development, Jenny Das, renewed confidence in the school's finances. And we started to reimagine learning with new programs that allowed students to do a deep dive into curriculum that was highly relevant to the real world. In the early 2000s, innovative teachers designed video block, social justice block, environmental block, French history block, English and perspectives block, and physics block, and more. These teachers made sure that students weren't just spectators learning about God's world. The students were invited to be active caretakers of God's world and God's people. But God was not done. Inspired by the school theme, the gift of the stranger, a focus was placed on welcoming the stranger and becoming the stranger. In 2007, 8 students enrolled in our very first international co-op class in Belize. 16 students and 4 teachers served in Nicaragua over the March break, and drama students visited China. But God was not done. After 17 years of service, in 2011, Ren passed the baton to William. William tried to turn down the job. He loved what he was doing as a vice principal. But he had, by this time, spent decades teaching students to use their gifts and to accept God's calling even when it's hard. So William listened to his own teaching and agreed to let his name stand. William helped us refocus our vision on learning for service in the light of God's Word and defined our core actions as unfolding, engaging, and empowering students. We purchased the Fire Hall in 2015 and graduated our largest graduating class up until that point, 130 students in 2016. Project 2020 added the beautiful presentation center, the foyer, the learning commons in room 41. And then there was a pandemic. Suddenly, we were all trying to figure out how on earth to learn and teach in a remote setting. For many of our students and families and staff, loneliness and anxiety became our unwanted quarantine roommates. How do you unfold, engage, and empower students in a remote learning environment? But God was not done. God has gifted our school with engaged families, wonderful students, forward-thinking tech teams, which has included William over the years, bravely innovative teachers who all support each other. So as a community, we found new ways to keep students learning and connected, even as we rode the roller coaster of pivoting between remote and in-person teaching. But the pandemic wasn't just an educational challenge. It also highlighted and exacerbated the polarization in our culture at large. And as a community, we know the risk of division because it's part of our story. God wept with our school through the devastation left by the Catcher in the Rye Rift in 1969. And when we see the polarization that permeates our society right now, we know we're not immune. We have a long history of creative students and innovative staff, but you don't get creativity and innovation with cookie-cutter people. We're not all the same. What unites us is what you see so well exemplified in William. We have a deep love for God, a deep love for teenagers, a deep love for each other, and we have a profound desire to serve God with our whole being, with our careers, with our academics, with our athletics, with our friendships, and with our lives. God isn't done. Will you say the present tense with me? God is not done. All of you are part of a legacy of students, alumni, parents, grandparents, staff, friends who enfold teenagers and adults. And God continues to work through every one of you, wherever He has called you, to be builders of community, enfolders, and people who create places for others to know they belong. God is not done. You share in a legacy of creative students, invested parents, innovative teachers, and engaged community members. God has given every one of you unique gifts and creativity, and you were made in the image of a creative and active God. Be engaged. Use your gifts to do beautiful work wherever God has called you. God is not done. You are part of a story of service. And as you serve, you empower others to join you and work alongside you. When we give of ourselves, I think we figure out what it really means to live. Life to the fullest is a life of service to others. Today, we're celebrating the work that God has done through William's more than 4 decades of service here at TD Christian. But he isn't done. William, God has a lot of work for you to do. You are going to find new ways to enfold people and engage people and empower people as you move into retirement. You can't help it. It's in your DNA. And even if you tried to stop William, it won't work because God isn't done. So I am so looking forward to seeing your story continue to be written. I'd like to next invite up David and Chloe Campbell, Katari Loney, and Simeon Fang to lead us together in worship. And I invite you to stand for that worship.
devotions, it's powerful to sing together. The cornerstone and solid ground that God has been in this community is evident in many ways, including with providing the school boards that have been committed to Christian education and TDCH in general. One of the most important relationships for any principal is the board chair. And tonight we're blessed to hear from two board chairs. First, I'll welcome our current board chair, Mr. Cameron Loopster, to say a few words, and then immediately following his address, we'll hear from Ms. Teresa Veenstra, who is a former board chair and a mentor to us. Thank you, Cameron and Teresa.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. It is a real honor for me, both personally and on behalf of the board, to say a few words about someone who's meant a great deal to this community, Mr. William Groot. For me, this is a bit of a full circle moment. You see, Mr. Groot was my grade 9 math teacher, and I'll never forget how passionately he tried to convince me that math was beautiful. Not just useful or important, but beautiful. He'd talk about equations like they were works of art. Meanwhile, I was just trying to make sense of why in the world someone thought it was a good idea to introduce the letters X and Y into math equations. Well, I failed grade 9 math. True story. So I suppose the message had missed me on that mark. But 34 years later, I can finally see that he was right, and I was, well, let's just say late bloomer when it came to artistic appreciation. But that's the kind of teacher he was, and still is. Someone who believes deeply in what he teaches, and even more deeply in the students he teaches it to. William has worn many hats here: a student, a parent, teacher, and principal. And through every stage, he's brought the same integrity, care, and quiet strength that define his leadership. This past year as principal, he has conducted himself with humility, wisdom, and with a steady hand through the transition period with Joel that has blessed both staff and students as well as the board. I have been extremely impressed and just so thankful for William over these past few years that I've been board chair. On behalf of the board, I want to thank you, William, for your faithful service, not just this year, but over a lifetime here at TD Christian. You are a living example of what it means to serve with joy, to lead with grace, and yes, to still believe that math is beautiful. I want to thank you, and may God continue to bless you in all that lies ahead. And possibly before you retire, do you think you could use your principal power and pull some strings to get me my grade 9 math credit? Thank you.
My name is Teresa Veenstra, and I have the pleasure of sharing some words with you this evening about William. Before I begin, though, I just want to make sure I can cast my eyes on William. William, where are you? Could you just raise your hand? Okay, now I see where you are. Okay, perfect. You know, just want to have a little bit of a connection. All right, so William, I've written a few things down that I'd like to share with you. You are a remarkable individual whose unwavering faith and boundless dedication have profoundly impacted our community. As principal of TD Christian, you have exemplified what it means to lead with compassion, integrity, and a deep commitment to every staff member, student, and parent. Your faith in God has been the cornerstone of your leadership, guiding you through every challenge with grace and wisdom. You have been a lifetime learner, eager to explore unique perspectives and data sets. And your love for math has been a testament to your analytical mind and problem-solving skills. Your ability to break down complex issues into manageable solutions has been just one of your strengths. While working with you, William, I witnessed your tireless work, often putting in the long hours into the work you loved. Your optimism and joy has been infectious, and your quick-to-laugh quality made the tough spots not so tough. You have always given people the benefit of the doubt, seeing the good in everyone, and fostering an environment of trust and mutual respect. Your servant leadership has set a standard for what true leadership looks like. You have been the main character in many of my leadership teachables when I talk about what great leadership looks like in action. As I bid you farewell, William, I do so with immense gratitude and admiration. It has been a pleasure and an honor to work alongside you. Your legacy will live on in countless lives that you have touched, and your unwavering faith, dedication, and love for learning will continue to be an inspiration at TD Christian. I wish you the very best in your retirement, knowing that your impact on our community will be felt for generations to come. Thank you for everything, and may God bless you in this new chapter of life.
William loves stats. If you ever heard one of his addresses at graduation, you know that it's usually full of numbers including significant achievements, how many students were in the class during those 4 years, and a reading of the students who left. For a various reason, but they won't be graduating with the class that year. And some have asked why. Why do you take the time to name those students? And William's answer is always because they're part of the story. And the class is who they are today because of every student who is part of it in some way. In that theme, Ms. Joni Knibb and John Terpstra would like to share with you some staff stats through the years. So please join me in welcoming them to the stage now, Ms. Joni Knibb and Ms. John.
My name is John Terpstra, and I'm a perspectives teacher at TD. This is Joni Knibb, who is our school librarian, but more importantly for this task, the school archivist. This took a bit of deep dive to do, but as Joel mentioned, we want to honor a tradition that William has been honoring for years. Willem, Wills, de grote kaas, is a community guy. As a homeroom teacher, as a classroom teacher, a coach, vice principal, and as principal, he worked tirelessly, continues to work tirelessly to create spaces for people to belong, to create community. He's also a man of many new, wild, and exciting ideas, and he actually will jump with new energy, which is a little bit frightening for staff as they come in a flurry. But he's also a man of tradition. Joel alluded to the tradition that we are going to honor tonight, which is that at every graduation, William takes the time to read out a list of student names who were part of the graduating class, but for one reason or another aren't there that evening. I too have asked William in the past, why does he do this? And it stems from his deep belief that even though the students aren't there, that they help to shape the character of that graduating class. And if that's true for students, it's also true for staff. So with this in mind, we felt it appropriate on the occasion of your retirement, William, that we read the list of the many and varied staff members who you've worked with over the past 4+ decades. It's an impressive list as a whole. I believe, I was watching Cameron's pages, how many you had. We're sitting on 15 pages of people. And so it's impressive in just how large this group is. But each name specifically also is impressive because of the impact that that person has made on William's life. And so we begin. Chris A.
Alina Abbott,
Juhei An.
Phyllis Alberts Myers,
Michael Amaral.
Ellen Antman,
James Apers.
Victor Arhan,
Deborah Baldwin.
William Barnevelt,
Tim Bentham.
Martha Bernal,
Ed Bolins,
Rebecca Bootsma,
Joanne Boy,
Denise Boss,
Judy Bowers,
Fred Brookelman,
Al Braun,
Matt Brown,
Ruth Brunsma,
Dan Buseman,
Peter Buseman,
Karen Burke,
Tim Bowalda,
Norm Carden,
Debbie Carol Menzel,
Mark Chan,
Linda Chung,
Jean Korosecki,
Shelby Contos,
Justin Cook,
Claire Courtois,
David Das,
Jenny Das,
Judy Davies,
Janice DeBoer,
Angie DeCaro,
Ish DeBurn,
Marianne Deeks,
Wendy DeYoung,
Justin Demore,
Evelyn Dendring,
Carrie Dengerink,
Rod Dendring,
Mario DePiero,
Amanda DeVries,
Melissa DeVries,
Tammy Dibbets,
Lance Dixon,
Joanna Dykstra,
Joel Dykeshorn,
Lynn Elliott,
David Fedema,
Edith Verkronis,
Jonathan Fernhout,
Leanne Fernhout,
Katie Flute,
Mark Flute,
Ben Freeman,
Albert Gills,
Laura Gigenti,
Carmine Giamonti,
Kevin Godber,
Robin Godber,
Margaret Good,
Annika Gretton,
Al Groon,
Marianne Groot,
Donna Groot,
William Groot,
Joe Grutenboer,
George Gitchelar,
Carla Gitchelar,
Anne Guillaume,
Antoinette Galizia,
Scott Guthrie,
Grace Habib,
David Hagan,
Joanna Hartholt,
Kevin Hayward,
Dave Healy,
Anne Heemsbergen,
Matt Heimbach,
Marjorie Helder,
Charlie Helliga,
Stephen Henstock,
Sid Hielema,
Ed Hoekstra,
Jade Hoekstra,
Holly Hollander,
Katie Hugendam,
Renee Hoogstad,
Sharon Hovestad,
Colin Hoving,
Harry Heyer,
Jaya Jacob,
Rick Jansen,
David Jansma,
Michelle Jaworski,
Katie Jedlinski,
Kobe Yonker,
Fran Josie,
Kathy Calverda,
Brian Karsten,
David Kim,
Jennifer Kim,
Linda Kim,
Suzanne Plannert,
Jerry Colmaker,
Joni Knibb,
Adrian Kuna,
Albert Coy,
Brad Coy,
Cindy Coy,
Laura Coy,
Megan Coy,
Rob Coy,
Thomas Coy,
Jen Krishnan,
Sue Laird Smith,
Mark Laswick,
Michelle Lau,
Stephen Lopes,
Louise Logan,
Rita Loomis,
Sheila McIver,
Susan McClarkey,
Marion Manavathu,
Debbie Mentel,
Lori Martins,
Claudio Martini,
Myra Mastenbrook,
Tinica Mastenbrook,
Keith Mulcair,
Christine Murchison Tan,
Ryan Neville,
Al Niebuhr,
Rick Nonicus,
Allison Norris,
Karen Nyman,
Patricia Uchers,
Andrew Peterkin,
Richard Peters,
Rachel Petrusma,
Patty Philp,
Rob Piper,
DJ Pitts,
Andrew Bonson,
Herman Proper,
Michelle Ramjitan,
Vic Reimer,
Will Riggs,
Mary Beth Robertson,
David Robinson,
Arda Rooks,
Jim Rooks,
Elaine Rorda,
Meg Rosie,
Hilda Rokama,
Jane Roxburgh,
Michelle Saad,
Miriam Sailors,
Amjad Salim,
Darnell Samuels,
Christina Sanita,
Luke Sacha,
Joan Shafsma,
Ryan Skipper,
Patty Sherman,
Matt Service,
Christine Shaver,
Ren Siebinger,
Carrie Simpson,
Joel Sharda,
Liz Sharda,
Tony Smayak,
Brian Smith,
Doxa Smits,
Aaron Stuckley,
Marissa Stratzma,
Roland Stratzma,
Sally Stratzma,
Lindsay Taggart,
Michael Talbot,
Jessica Tay,
John Templeton,
Vivian Templeton,
Junson Ironheis,
John Terpstra,
Ellie Tite,
John Torrens,
Sophie Vanderberg,
Paul Vandenbrink,
Jody Vanderputty,
Kathy Vanderheid,
Richard Vanderkloot,
Chris Vanderkoy,
Alice Vanderkoy,
Peter Vandermaas,
Betty Vandervat,
Bob Vandervelde,
Keith Vanderswan,
Sheriff Van Dongersgood,
Dick Van Dyke,
Sean Van Erden,
Tara Van Halteren,
Denise Van Vanveld,
Hank Van Hedveld,
Charles Van Hoffen,
Bethany Van Pelt,
Deanie Van Pelt,
Judy Van Scheppen,
Dorothy Van Spronson,
Brent Van Staldiamond,
Kyle Van Stryland,
Victoria Veenstra,
Joe Villema,
Lisa Vervita,
Henny Visser,
Lorraine Vorberg,
Ann Voss,
Bruce Vreeling,
Eric Vreeling,
Phil Vreen,
Rachel Weaning,
Robin Weenie,
Rebecca Wells Joplin,
and Joel Westroff.
William's fact checking all of those names actually as we speak. Who did we miss, William? Oh yeah, all right. we'll move on. Thanks, John and Jody. I'm sure that many of you recognize some of those names, and one of those staff members' name will be sharing with us next. But before he does, I do want to address one question that's been asked numerous times over the last 3 years. And the question usually goes something like this. How did you know William was ready to retire? Well, believe it or not, I can remember the exact moment. We were meeting in my office for the 500th time, talking about COVID restrictions or shutdowns or schedules or back-to-school plans or something like that. And I looked over because William was strangely quiet. And this is what I saw. I'm not kidding you. The myth was busted. The man does sleep. All right, there's no perfect segue after that, but I would like to introduce to you our next speaker. He does happen to also be my uncle and one of the Coys that were named. When you hear William talk about time at TD in the year 2000s, Albert Coy is one of the names that will continually pop up. Now when you talk to William, Albert's name is brought up whenever he talks about his friends. So please join me in welcoming his friend, Mr. Albert Coy.
Yes, I'm part of that plague of Coys that we mentioned just a moment ago. I've known William Groot for nearly 39 years. First as my teacher and coach, even snuck me into homeroom 4 in my last year here, illegally, I might add. Then as a mentor, a colleague, and friend. And if I had to choose one word to describe William, I thought about that for a while and thought the one word is passion. Passion. Now, why passion? Well, let me give you, I'm a pastor, I'll give you 3 reasons. Sorry. It just happened that way. First, William is passionate about details. He will work and work until he works out every single last detail to perfection. And then he'll work a little bit more. You see, yes, he can be a perfectionist, but that's William. I remember back in the days before we did this on computer where we had a board, and on the board would go every course for the next school year. And every course was up there on that board, and it had to be figured out how all those courses were going to fit into a schedule in first semester, second semester, with all the students in mind, with all the teachers in mind, with all the rooms in mind. And we went over iteration after iteration and version after version. And sometimes, honestly, as I watched them work, I would say, that looks really good. I think this is good enough. No, this is really bothering me. This one course is just not going to work right here. And the whole board would have to get redone. And that's his dedication to details. But there's another side of it that I've seen too, not just as an administrator, but also as a teacher in the classroom, and even as a coach. When we got the chance to coach a little bit together at TD, and especially volleyball back in the day, when you coach volleyball, you get your team ready by teaching them what's called rotations, if you've never played volleyball. And that's for every rotation, you receive serve and you get ready for your offense in different kinds of setups. Williams' rotations were something no one had ever seen before. Even referees, who sometimes would call him out of rotation, and then William would say, no, look. And he would show his rotation to the ref, and then his players would show them on the floor, and they go, yeah, that actually technically is right. I just never seen anybody do that before. But William had a reason for every single one of those rotations to be exactly that way so that his players would succeed and his team would succeed the best possible way it could, but it was all about the details. And then as I think about other details, I think about doing some of the renovation projects that I was here for as well. And if I was the architect and I saw William walk in the room, I probably would be a little frustrated because sometimes there would be another detail after another detail after another detail because there wasn't going to be 1 square centimeter, inch. When you're building, it's inches, I'm sorry. And 1 square inch wasted. William was going to figure out a way to redesign and get a new design working to make sure we didn't waste any space at all. William is passionate about details. Now, many people who are passionate about details are the kind of people that often think that the world would be much better if we didn't have people around. You know what I'm talking about. People kind of ruin things and get in the way of having the details perfect. But William is not that guy. Because William is not only passionate about details, he's also passionate about people. William is passionate about people because he loves people. He loves his wife, he loves his kids, he loves his family, his extended family, he loves his in-laws, he loves the people around him. William loves his colleagues at work, he loves his students, he loves his community around him. William loves the people in his neighborhood, he knows them. And William loves his friends. William loves people. And I got to witness this in a whole bunch of different ways, but I think a number of those ways would be these. One, I've not met anybody with the memory yet like William on names. But he remembers names in a way that I've never seen before, and I think one of the reasons he does is because he loves people. And the other big way that I've seen this is that William loves people and he's willing to be patient and gracious with them. I confess, as a colleague at times, and in places where we have to make decisions about students or about other people and other things that need to be done, I would be at a point where I was ready to say, okay, enough. No more. That it's over with that person. And William would say, no. One more chance. One more chance. One more chance. William is what often is described in the Bible as long suffering. He's willing to suffer for the sake of other people and give them the grace to continue and have an opportunity to change, to grow, and to see if they can take it to another place. And he does this because he loves people. He wants the best for them, and he's willing to sacrifice himself for them to have that opportunity. But there's one more passion. One more passion I need to mention in William's life. And it's a passion I've seen over all the years, and it actually is a passion that infuses the other passions in his life. It's kind of the fuel for them. And this is a passion for God. It's a passion for the God that he believes and trusts in, a God who is powerful, who is great, who's holy, majestic, and who's faithful and merciful and gracious and full of steadfast love. You see, I began to realize as I worked with William and as I was mentored by him, I realized that this does infuse the other passions of his life, because when it came to details, one of his favorite phrases and sayings that he would quote was from a German-American architect, Ludwig Mies van Gogh, where he basically said this quote over and over again: God is in the details. And William cares about details because God cares about details. And William wants to get it as right as possible because God wants us to get it as right as possible. God cares about details. William cares about details. But William also has that passion and love for God that fuels his love for people. Because William is not perfect. And even though he strives for it in so many ways, which I admire and think is wonderful, William would be the first to admit he's not perfect. And the reason he tries to love people and be gracious to people and forgive people is because he knows he's loved. He's forgiven. He's been shown incredible grace by this one God, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, who loves him and has proven that love in Jesus so clearly. You see, it's William's understanding, experience, and living out of that love that gives him the ability to be passionate for details and for people, because he knows that the God who loves him is actually passionate about William. And so, William, I admire you. I admire your passion for details, for people, and for God. And I know that he's not done with whatever he has in store for you. That this, in one sense, is the closing of one chapter that leads to another. But one thing I think is true. I think you're going to keep being a passionate guy. Now, for the rest of this life, and the life to come. Because that's who God made you to be. And you honor him and bring glory to him when you use the gifts that he's given you to be passionate about him, about people, and the details that you do. So I thank God for you. Pray his blessing on you. And I'd like to pray for you. Let's pray. Father in heaven, thank you for your amazing love to us in Jesus. Thank you for revealing that love to William. And thank you for using your gifting of him and gifting to him by your Spirit's power working in him to make him an incredible blessing to so many people over so many years, ultimately for your glory and honor. Will you continue to bless him, Lorraine, his children, his family, friends, community, neighbors, all those around him, through him? And will you encourage his heart with your love day after day, that that love might flow through him as it does now for the rest of this life and eternity to come. Father, thank you for William. We thank you for your amazing love to us through him. And I pray it all in Jesus' name. Amen.
All right, our next presenters are going to come to you from our staff. We had a beautiful time on Friday here in our PD time. We were led by devotions by current teacher, Ms. Rachel Reading. She shared the beauty of the Christian life being made up of both pilgrimage and discipleship. We celebrated William's long obedience in the same direction as described by theologian Eugene Peterson. We were then led by our PD team through a roundtable discussion where staff learned from the 43 years of William's various roles here at the school. Please welcome one of our current staff members, Mr. Sean Van Eerden, who will now share some words on behalf of our teaching staff.
Hello everybody, I'm Sean Van Eerden, and I have the privilege of speaking on behalf of the staff to William tonight. And ever since Joel Dykeshorn asked me to do this speech as one of the elderly members of the staff, I've been trying to think about how to put it together. And I just realized how to do it. I was trying to write a speech about details and about passion, and I just realized how to do it listening to Albert. So as an advance warning and as a nod to William, I may cry during this speech. Over the many years he has spent at the school, William has played a wide array of roles, but he has always and consistently been first and foremost a believer in Christ. It is his pure, straightforward, wholehearted belief that has informed every single thing he has done in his work and his life. It has been his why, and it is a model for both staff and students alike. One of William's favorite Bible stories is that of Paul's shipwreck on the Adriatic Sea, found in Acts 27 and 28. And if you're surprised that of all the powerful stories in the Bible, this one would rise to the top, then you're not alone. If William hadn't shared this with us, I might have gone my whole life without thinking much about it. But such is the mystery and wonder of God's voice in our lives, that he brings to light what we're ready to hear. I would like to read this entire passage with you because it offers an insight into William's emphasis on detail and story, which is the theme of this speech. In his time as principal and colleague, William modeled two opposing methods of reading through Scripture. The first was to read a verse or two and then excitedly interject with thoughts and connections as he encountered the Word with awe and reverence. Alternatively, he gave the instruction to let the Word wash over you. And that's the model I'll follow today. But while I read, I would like you to notice the many details the writer found useful to include. On the 14th night, we were still being driven across the Adriatic Sea when about midnight the sailors sensed they were approaching land. They took soundings and found that the water was 120 feet deep. A short time later, they took soundings again and found it was 90 feet deep. Fearing that we would be dashed against the rocks, they dropped 4 anchors from the stern and prayed for daylight. In an attempt to escape from the ship, the sailors let the lifeboat down into the sea, pretending they were going to lower some anchors down from the bow. Then Paul said to the centurion and the soldiers, "Unless these men stay with the ship, you cannot be saved." So the soldiers cut the ropes that held the lifeboat and let it drift away. Just before dawn, Paul urged them to eat. "For the last 14 days," he said, "you have been in constant suspense, and you've gone without food. You haven't eaten anything. Now I urge you to take some food. You need it to survive. Not one of you will lose a single hair from his head." After he said this, he took some bread and gave thanks to God in front of them all. Then he broke it and began to eat. They were all encouraged and ate some food themselves. Altogether, there were 276 of us on board. When they had eaten as much as they wanted, they lightened the ship by throwing the grain into the sea. When daylight came, they did not recognize the land, but they saw a bay with sandy beach, where they decided to run the ship aground if they could. Cutting loose the anchors, they left them in the sea, and at the same time untied the ropes that held the rudders. Then they hoisted the foresail to the wind and made for the beach. But the ship struck a sandbar and ran aground. The bow stuck fast and would not move, and the stern was broken to pieces by the pounding surf. The soldiers planned to kill the prisoners to prevent any of them from swimming away and escaping. But the centurion wanted to spare Paul's life and kept them from carrying out their plan. He ordered those who could swim to jump overboard first and get to land. The rest were to get there on planks or on other pieces of the ship. In this way, everyone reached land safely. Once safely ashore, we found out that the island was called Malta. The islanders showed us unusual kindness. They built a fire and welcomed us all in because it was raining and cold. Paul gathered a pile of brushwood and put it on the fire. And as he put it on the fire, a viper, driven out by the heat, fastened itself onto his hand. When the islanders saw the snake hanging from his hand, they said to each other, "This man must be a murderer, for though he escaped from the sea, the goddess of justice has not allowed him to live." But Paul shook the snake off into the fire and suffered no ill effects. Did you notice the details? William did. The 14th night, the Adriatic Sea, first 120 feet, then 90 feet, 4 anchors, 276 on board, the nautical notes about sails, rudders, and ropes, the plot of the sailors, the pretense of the soldiers, the lifeboat drifting away, and the mysterious viper at the end. William is a master of detail. Once and forever a math guy, as he describes himself, his mind is oriented toward the details. In math, details can be the difference between getting the question right and missing the mark. But in his life and leadership, it has never been about the details for the sake of the details. Ultimately, a relational person, he has always been wise enough to understand that leadership isn't about getting the right answer, but about working together how to best live in community. William has always worked to know the details of the lives of the people he works with, whether it be staff or students. He remembers generations of people, their names, their businesses, where they live, who they married, and all the many pieces of their lives. Because he knows and because he cares, he mourns with those who mourn, he rejoices with those who rejoice. Listening is the first step of relationship, and his knowledge of detail makes people feel heard, seen, and welcomed in. Or, to put it another way, enfolded, engaged, and empowered. At times, we can drown in the details of the story, biblical or otherwise. The story can be lost in the day-to-day challenges of navigating a school year, where we are running from one thing to the next. In managing calendars, schedules, events, and people, it's easy to forget what the point is or the way the details fit into the larger story. It is fitting that the central action of Paul's story is a ship headed for the rocks. And on that ship, there are prisoners, soldiers, and sailors, each with their own plans, their own worries, and their own individual ways of solving the problems for themselves first. Caught up in these plots, they miss the story. Without deciding who among us are the prisoners and who are the sailors, we can see the outlines of a metaphor. A school where everyone is pulling for themselves, where no one knows the story, is a school careening toward the rocks. In the story of Paul's shipwreck, we can see his steadfast faith through the storm, and the way he calmly shakes the viper into the fire. He reassures the soldiers, the sailors, and the prisoners alike that God is in control. And even in the worst of the storm, he breaks bread and gives thanks to God. The job of a principal at a Christian school is exactly that. First, it is about trusting the story and keeping faith through the darkest storms. It involves reassuring parents, partners, board members, staff, and students that everything is going to work out according to God's will, even when we have the human audacity to think that we could do a better job. These storms can look like low or high enrollment numbers, like tough government inspectors, like COVID, like a building project, but these are just the headlines. Being a part of a community naturally comes with the messy entanglements in people's lives, conflicting desires and directions, hurting and broken relationships. In both the big and the small, William always marveled at God's faithfulness to the TD community from generation to generation. He believed unwaveringly that God was watching over this school and this community, and that, as the story promises, not one of you will lose a single hair from your head. In that case, I'll take that metaphorically, since when William started as principal, I had a full head of hair. But second, being a principal is about being available, and that is something William always is. Like Paul, who took the time to break bread and sit in prayer with his fellow travelers, in the midst of seeming disaster, William has an open-door policy. This takes time and energy. It requires ignoring for a time the gathering storms to be present in the moment and listen for the details. William did the same, giving time to storytelling, to laughing, to dreaming, to planning, encouraging each of us, staff and students alike, to invest in what we could make possible, not for our own glory, but as a chapter in the story. Like Paul, all that William did was done under the umbrella of prayer that asked for vision, discernment, for wisdom in the moment. William has a love for detail, but he is genuinely and absolutely awestruck by the way that God's story is told through the seemingly random minutiae of each of our lives. It's an incredible story, he'll often say, brought to tears when he looks back over the path we walked, seeing that God's direction was there, even when we felt like we were stumbling in the dark. The reading of names at graduation, which we just saw demonstrated, is a perfect example of this. Behind each of those names, those details, there is a story, and each of those names was a part of a story of this place. Much is unresolved and unfinished, but when he looks over the details, the emotion spills over as he recognizes glimpses of God at work in the lives of every single person he meets. Though William loves details, he loves people more. To lead effectively, we must truly love those in our care, and seeing each person as a story God is telling makes this possible. Since he first arrived at its door in grade 9, William has spent most of his life at 377 Woodbridge Avenue, TD Christian, where as a student, parent, teacher, vice principal, and principal, he has been constantly learning for service in the light of God's Word. In the giant warehouse of his mind, he has stored thousands upon thousands of details about the school and its history. Each detail tells the story of TD Christian, and in turn, God's faithfulness from generation to generation. This is the story he believes with all his heart, and this is the story he has told with his work. Well done, good and faithful servant. What an incredible story.
Well, if you stop doing good speeches, I'll stop asking you, Sean. It's good to have more context for that story because I do remember when William shared that in staff devotions, he left out most of the last 7 minutes of that speech. So it's good to know where it's going with that. If you've ever been to a Dutch wedding, and perhaps other cultures do the same thing, then you've seen the alphabet game played. We're going to do that. So I'd like to invite the rest of the staff who are participating in the game to come on up, grab your letter, and share how it relates to William. As they somewhat awkwardly meander this way, this side of the stage, why don't you take a body break as well and say hi to your neighbor and say, I'm glad that you're here, and then we will continue on with the alphabet game. And we are going to start.
For years he led with heart and grace, advancing dreams to build this place.
He championed causes built with drive to help the school not just survive, but thrive and grow, expand its view with dreams made bold and friendships too.
Now off he goes, our leader true. We're better here because of you.
B. B is for beginnings. Life is made up of a series of beginnings. August 31st, 1989 was my first day at TDCH, and was the first day I met William. He introduced himself in the morning, laughed, and came back the next day with birth announcements, introducing us to his son Peter. That day marked two beginnings, a working relationship and a new life. And now, years later, we're here for another William's retirement. It may feel like an ending, but in reality, it's the next chapter in a life full of meaningful beginnings.
So I'm the letter C, and C stands for China, because I had the privilege of going to China with William. And he obviously brought a lot of energy and fun to the trip. We were there for developing the International Admissions Department. But my favorite parts of that trip were sitting in the back seat of people who drove us all the time, all over China. And I really got to absorb William's wisdom, and I got to learn about the history of TV in those back seats kind of drives. And he just made me very aware of the fantastic staff here and the beautiful history and culture of TD Christian. And he also taught me how every student belonged here and how important that was. So I may have known him for 2 years, and that doesn't seem like enough, but he's taught me lessons that will last me a lifetime. So thank you.
D is for dunk tank. Please roll the video.
That was me, you didn't catch that.
William is the kind of principal who never hesitates to jump into the dunk tank. Literally and figuratively, he is all in. This moment captures who he is to me. Fun, approachable, and always willing to connect with students in meaningful ways. His playful spirit and genuine relationships that he makes make our school a place where every single person feels seen, valued, and part of the community.
William is enthusiastic, not just about math and education, but about language and having fun with language. He loves alliteration and bold and gauge of power. Then there was his extreme interest in haiku, and of course, William's word of the day. Word of the week on the Pulse. So William, I made you a limerick, and I hope I get an A. There once was a math whiz named Groot, who thought that to teach was a hoot. Enthusiastic each day, he'd almost like to stay, but he's giving himself the boot. This is from Rebecca Wells Joplin, but she could not be here, so I'm standing in her place. F is for faithful, fearless foundation for fellow teachers flourishing. William's faith shines through his relationships with everyone, students, parents, and teachers alike. And it's the faith that leads to the fearless. It's the fearless quality that leads to an open-minded generosity in working with us as fellow teachers. His approach allows us to flourish using the gifts we have each been given so that we can make our contributions to the beautiful place of learning that TD is.
G is for grapes, a story William has not told. First year of his teaching, some students bored of his preaching, grade 10 math with his back turned to the class. Out of nowhere came grapes whizzing past. A quick turn by Mr. Groot, not to find a culprit. Back to teaching class, so he thought. The same two students had more grapes to toss. Right past the teacher's head, who this time was much quicker to find two boys with arms mid-stride. The fun, the so-called fun, was now done. G is for grapes.
H is for homeroom. William Groot loved homeroom. I had the privilege of being part of his homeroom for 5 years, which was spectacular. It was a place of community, place of themes and devotions, and as you can tell, a place where we won championships. We had intramural competitions at the time where we competed in homerooms. We won, which was great. And at the end of my 5 years here, he made this shirt for me. That's felt. That says Queen of Homeroom for it. Yeah, William Homeroom, I was a privilege to be in it for 5 years.
I is for individuals. William never saw students or parents or teachers as part of the system. He saw them as individuals, each with unique needs, no matter how much effort it required. He never met a problem that he wasn't willing to take on, especially if it meant helping someone else. Whether it meant staying late, adjusting plans, or taking on more than his share, he never hesitated to do what was right for the person in front of him. His leadership wasn't about policy, it was all about people.
Well, having never been to a Dutch wedding, I didn't realize I'd have to speak for the alphabet game. But fortunately, like Jen, I wrote some words with my slides, so I'm going to read those. Journey. William has had the privilege to watch many journey from kindergarten. Some up-and-comers picture below, you will see Lorraine Groot there, and my daughter is in the class, second from the right bottom row. So he's seen many journey through kindergarten, through to high school, and far beyond. William cares deeply about people's stories, and William, thank you so much for caring so deeply about others.
My name is Ben Freeman. I've been to only 2 Dutch weddings, and they were both roasts. So that's kind of the approach I took here. We know that William brings a king-sized energy to everything he does. I did not know that meant booking a king-sized bed for 2 people that were in bed. So while Will and I shared in this beautiful spot here, we also shared a bed at night, which I'm not quite recovered from. Yeah. It was stunning. You can also see that Will had a new panoramic feature on his photo, so every photo we have from Banff is like this too. William, thank you for this trip. It is definitely in the top memories and experiences of my time here at TD. If you get a chance to ask William about it, he was one of the co-led a panel at this conference that just had a change on the 300 people that were there. And even the next day when I checked out of our king-size room in line, there were 3 different groups of people around me still talking about William's session and the beautiful impact it had. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jennifer Kim and I am new this year at TD. And I actually knew about William for years. I ran a small Christian school in our community and sent kids to TD from our school, and we sent emails, and I knew about this amazing math teacher who was the principal who was teaching math, and he was amazing, and I knew about different things, but for a long series of things that happened in my life, I walked into his office last year, and the first thing that he said to me wasn't, "Hi, nice to meet you." He said, "Jennifer Kim, the legend!" And I still remember that the moment just took me aback, and I laugh now because you can tell from the stories that have been told, and from the love that he has for people, the love that he has for math, the love that he has, as he expressed to the staff yesterday, for teenagers, because it's just a gift that God gave him. You're the legend. So right back at you.
M is for Midas. My name is Rachel Latrusma. William is Midas's #1 customer. It's rare that a week goes by where William doesn't need a ride to or from Midas to pick up or drop off one of his vintage but completely paid off vehicles. Last August, on our way to our admin retreat, after the van had already broken down for the first time, only time, but for the first time, Joel asked William, "If you don't spend your money on vehicles, what do you spend your money on?" William responded with, "Nothing."
N is for no, which is what I think I would have said if I saw that king-size bed. Actually, to be honest, my word is no, but I signed up really late to this, so N is for yes, N is for available. My students asked William to be part of many, many videos, and William always said yes. Here's just a small sampling.
O is for open door policy. I'm Bethany Mampel, and this is Jenna Jacob. And so we thought, what better way to represent William than to talk about his open door policy, where students and staff, no matter the time of the day, if you walk by William's office, it's likely going to be literally and figuratively open for any questions or problems. William always has a big heart for people, and we can just see that relationship is at the core of who he is.
William, we just want to say thank you for keeping the doors of your Christ-centered heart and your office open for all of us. This place just doesn't feel like a welcoming place, but also feels like home because of your wonderful heart and your wonderful open door, which extends to not just this community within the campus, but way beyond. So thank you, and we miss you so much.
I'm really glad I didn't pick passion for PE, because Albert knocked it out of the park. Peacemaker. How do you know you're a peacemaker? If you talk to Romeo Dallaire, I think he'd say it's because you're taking friendly fire from both sides. And Annika really clearly articulated some of the history here at school as far as fractions that we have had in the past. We live in a fractured and fracturing, a polarized and polarizing world. And to be able to have peace, because whether we like it or not, that's also here. During COVID, man, that could not have been easy, because we had polarization, and you kept us on the straight and narrow, which is understanding what we are here and why we are here, what we are doing. And you kept the peace. Thank you.
You know that William is a math guy, but you may not know that he's also a champion of math's arch nemesis, which is French. He often reminds me about how he made all of his kids go through French all 4 years, and there's probably many here who are glad that they didn't have to go through that experience. But it's not just for the love of the language or the subject, he champions every subject, but also because for William, he understands what the word neighbor means, and that it never is just a geographical neighbor, but always the sense in which Jesus meant it. That every neighbor is a chance for the kingdom to be enriched and to enrich. And any way of building connection with our neighbors is valuable to them. Thank you.
So Luke and I originally kind of put ours together, Q and R. This is a photo of a Quebec trip, one of many, I think, that William went on. He came on our grade 12 Quebec trip, and that was a moment for me. I remember sitting in the van, he was driving, I was the passenger in the front seat, and we just were sharing stories of our life. And that brings us to R, that relationship is so important. Like, we've heard many stories of how our relationship with William has been such a positive impact. And yeah, wanted to share that. Thank you.
Okay, so S is for spark, or setting fires for learning. So William ignites a spark for learning in students, figuratively, and yes, sometimes literally. This is a picture of my grade 10 English class bringing Lord of the Flies novel to life, by racing to see who could build a fire the fastest. Never in my wildest dreams did I think I'd have a principal who looked at a lesson plan created by students involving open flames with teenagers, and said, sure, that sounds educational. But the students loved it, and they still talk about it today. That's what William is all about, lighting a fire or spark for learning that lasts. Thank you.
T is for trains, traffic, and time. So William could play the hits on why he was late, and this was a lot of mornings that we would get a text. And so sometimes it's a train, pretty sure the train's same time every day, pal. Sometimes it's traffic, pretty sure they're doing construction on Finch for 5 years. And then just time in general. So I remember, well, last August at our admin retreat, he said, I'm going to be better. And he was, I'd say he was better this year. But then, the year before, one August morning, he was late for the numbered day in a row. And we're like, why didn't you sleep earlier? And that might have been the dumbest question we've ever asked. And he's like, listen, like, this has been happening since Ren was principal. He always told me to be on time. Like, I just can't do it. Like, why would I need to be efficient with my time. Like, Lorraine and I moved a dresser this morning, now it's done. Okay, man. No more meetings. You guys move all the dressers you want. But when I call for scheduling help, you pick up that phone.
Well, like Mr. Bawalda, I signed up late and got stuck with you. So I had to reach out to another language. Ubuntu. Actually, I am told it is South African English. Comes to us from Xhosa and Zulu. And it describes a quality that includes the essential human virtues of compassion and humanity. In working with William for almost 20 years, I've come to appreciate his compassion for students, their families, and of course, those of us who work with him on a daily basis. I hope to emulate the way that he strives to treat everyone with care and dignity. Thank you, William.
Hello. Visionary. Mr. Groot has a vision, had a vision about his future. He was able to see with God's eyes from the first time he stepped into the TV. He told my students who were listening to your story that he came to place lockers with his father, then he asked to be part of the school. He became part of the school and never thought what God will do, but God had eyes to see what he couldn't see. So you're a visionary in the making.
W has been mentioned before. W is for watery eyes. I'm surprised this is all still not used yet. William will tell a story about any one of you and he will cry because he just loves every single person who is here to celebrate it today so deeply. And thank you, William, just for your care and your deep love of people.
Hi, I'm Linda, this is David, and we signed up for X early.
So, as Cameron Loopser reminded us, X is for mathematics, for solving for the unknowns. And William loves solving for the unknowns in mathematics, but he also loves solving for the unknowns in staffing, in students, in scheduling, in everything in this school he likes to solve. So.
Y is for youthful, the joy in his heart, a fire for learning, a passionate start. He walked through the halls with pep in his shoes and greeted each student with nothing but hues.
You mattered, he'd say, with a smile so wide. He knew every name, no one could hide. A leader, a listener, steady and true, with love for the Lord and all that he did.
He once was an athlete, a sprinter, a star. On tracks, courts, and fields, he went very far. Volleyball, soccer, basketball too. If it meant teamwork, then he would pursue.
He once loaned his track shoes, no glory, no fuss, helping a friend, that's just part of us. He showed us that greatness is not just the wind, but how you lift others again and again.
He met his wife in high school one day. They laughed and they learned and they walked in God's way. From classmates to soulmates, they followed his call and built up a life full of purpose for all.
Through decades of service, 40-some-3, teaching and leading so faithfully, he made school a place where God's love was shown and helped every student feel seen and known.
He loved every hallway, each classroom and space, and worked every day to make the school full of grace. With laughter, with prayer, with a heart young and free, he helped us become who God called us to be.
Enthusiastic, oh yes, beyond measure, with joy in the journey and peace in each treasure. From Monday's first bell to Friday night games, he cheered us all on and knew each of our names.
So now we say thank you with grateful applause. You lived out your mission without need for a pause. You taught us to serve, to love, and to grow, and trust in the Savior wherever we go. Dear William Groot, as you now step away, know your light in this school will forever stay. You'll carry your lessons and walk in the truth, inspired by your faith, your strength, and your youth.
Self-explanatory. Congratulations. It will soon be the day, your office vacated, your stuff thrown away.
you have brains in your head, you have TD in your heart, new ventures await you, no need to fall apart. Whether we call you William, Wills, or Mr. Groot, you will be missed without dispute. But with fun places to go and new things to do, all of these zeros will become just memories to you. So Godspeed, my friend, and coworker too. It's been a joy and privilege to work alongside you.
Thank you, staff. It was mentioned earlier this week that TD Christian has been blessed with incredible continuity at the principal level for many decades. Mr. Bill Barneveld was the principal for 17 years, followed by 17 years of principalship from Mr. Ren Siebenga, and now William. When I was a student here from 2000 to 2005, I spent some time with one of these principals. More specifically, I spent some time in Mr. Ren Siebenga's office on occasion. I'm sure it was mostly innocent, or slightly mischievous, but nonetheless, there was a certain aura one felt when they entered Mr. Siebenga's space. William spent much time in that same office as a VP and as part of Ren's leadership team for many years, and to share some of these insights and memories of working with William, please now welcome to the stage former TDCH principal, Mr. Ren Siebenga.
Boy, has that boy ever grown up. What a great night, eh, William? And this was awesome. Long time coming, but here it is. Just the fact that the number of people alone is a wonderful tribute to the love that lives for you and the appreciation people have. Thanks, William. I'm going to make some comments too, William. Yes, about William. And then I'm going to say a little bit about the next era of your life and some recommendations. Okay. It's 1983. I know most of you weren't born at that time. It's 1983. Will Campice and I are leading a group of teachers to develop the Teachers' Convention of 1984. We had secured the famous Nicholas Waltersdorf to give a history of Reformed thought in education and a look into the future of Reformed Christian education. And we decided to publish his speech in advance and have 400 plus teachers from across Ontario read it and be ready to discuss when they came to the conference. Perhaps they would internalize some of what they read. We had to put them into groups with a location to meet, and all of that had to be sent to them in advance. Our group pondered how to do that for several months. It was an impossible logistical nightmare for that time. In the group of ponderers was a TDCH teacher who spoke up and said, "I know somebody who can do that. He uses computers." Really? At that time, I was the principal of a school that was in the middle of debating whether to allow computers into the school and whether it was Christian or not to use them. At the next meeting, we were given a couple group lists, locations for the meetings, the head of the person for each group, all compliments of a certain William Groot. Wow. It's the winter of 1994 now. I accepted a contract to TDCH as principal. And in the process, I heard that a certain William Groot was offered a contract to HDCH and was all but out the door. The TDCH school was in a situation at the time that it needed all the best on board. So 2 Saturday morning coffee meetings in Scarborough later, William was back at TD, and the rest is history. 17 years William and I worked together, and I'm going to dare to say that he's the best vice principal I have worked with in my 40 years of principal. What made William such an effective VP and an effective pedagogue? Well, first of all, he's intelligent. He's smart, like very smart, which can be intimidating. He doesn't just know your name, he knows your kids' names, your parents' names, the years they graduated from TDCH, and probably their telephone numbers. He is the computer. His attitude to growth and development has this fervent desire to grow, to take on involuntary pain. No matter how well William knows the subject, he always wants to know more. No matter how trivially tippy, he has an innate need to get better at it. William works until the work is done. William is curious. He wants to delve into the unknown. People are sometimes nervous around such curiosity, for you never know where it will take you. But I absolutely loved it, because it allowed the school to try stuff that was unheard of, but that had the essence of real student learning. And a whole list of that was given, and I won't go through that again, but we'll leave it there. When it comes to mathematics and math teaching, William really is in his element. He has this internalized knowledge of the field, so he just works from intuition. He is an incredible math teacher, and many of you have been blessed by his teaching. William is good because he knows that most educational journeys begin with surprise and wonder. It is the surprise of the soul. You get dragged into the unknown. There is this moment of ignition, and something outside touches something deep inside. The best schools teach students to arouse and discipline their curiosity. The best schools are brave enough to tackle hard problems and don't settle for simple stereotypes. William has led such a place. William is about solutions. And when he presents a solution to a math problem, or he presents a new schedule for the school year, he can't help but explode with enthusiasm and giggle just a bit. He has just finished hours of grueling work and come up with 5 solutions to a problem, all of which work. Anyway, I could go on, and quite a bit already has been said. I'm now going to give you some recommendations for the future. They say, first of all, that there are 4 stages to life: youth, middle age, old age, and I'm in the latter stage. You're in the beginning of the former. Young old, as they say. Of course, William, you will take these comments with a grain of salt and do with them as you will. It's only one person's suggestions on transitioning to the next stage of life. We get better at life as we get older. Old is just another word for nothing left to lose. Aging well, like everything else, is worth doing well, and it takes practice. It's true the telephones will quit ringing, the emails will drop off, there'll be less and less messages, and Margot threw out her stuff. You'll miss being surrounded by the engaging, enthusiastic teachers that we saw here tonight. Students, your power of position will be gone. People will not have to talk with you. They will talk with you because they want to. You will find that someone who has served an institution for many years, like you have, is most popular when you leave. So find some friends who are lingerable. People who you want to linger with at the table. After a meal, let things flow. Let the relationship emerge. Actively embracing aging gives one a chance to move beyond the lying days of youth and to wither into the truth, as Parker Palmer says it. Do the deep inward, and that should get easier with age. The older we get, the more our lives are enriched by the lessons we weren't ready to learn when we were young. Look for sanctuary, that safe place where you can regain your bearings, recalm your soul, heal your wounds, return as a wounded healer. You need sanctuary if you want to loosen the grip of your past. More often than not, I find sanctuary in places sacred to my soul, in the natural environment. In my area, the RBG, Royal Botanical Gardens, looking for and at birds, in the company of a faithful friend, in solitary or shared silence. Sometimes I find it in the churches. Some people find it in art, in good music, in poetry, in novels, in woodworking, in sailing a boat. One of the questions for you, William, is what do you want to let go of? And what do you want to give yourself to? I know, William, you are in love with callings, projects, with people. Anyone with your incredible gifts will be pursued. To serve on their boards, to work committees, to monitor, to observe, to report, to develop this or that project. My advice, give yourself time. Take at least a year before you commit to anything. Don't burn out with frantic energy, but rather just plow your furrow. A little bit further, day after day. There's something tremendously moving about old veterans using their lives to stay in the game. The 78-year-old that's still running 10K every day. That's not me, I'm 79. The 82-year-old that wins awards for his bird photography. The 90-year-old who's a chess champion. Figure out the way to stay engaged with younger folks. Reach out to those. You probably had mentors that reached out to you. Now it's your turn to mentor. Help them catch a glimpse of hope. Mentoring is a gift exchange in which we elders receive at least as much as we give, often more. The young bring gifts of energy, vision, hope that is sometimes stolen from we elders, often without us knowing. Take the time to be with your grandchildren. Be a presence. And from time to time, we'll ask you a question. As you age, you'll find multitasking more difficult. But there is a certain joy in doing one thing at a time. Your thinking will slow down a bit, but experience will make it deeper and richer. You'll be more aware of the simple things, a talk with a friend, walk in the woods, sunset, sunrises, a night of good sleep without any get-ups. Every day we get closer to our final day. We're all headed that way, of course, even when we're young. Though most of us are too busy with important matters to think about our end days. But all you will have to do is bury a friend or a close loved one, or have a serious illness, or go to a class reunion, and wonder who are all those old people to get you wondering about your end days. So, William, you are moving out of the hubbub of life to the side where you can observe rather than form and give voice. And yet, stay in the game. As Kurt Vonnegut says, and play your piano, on the edge, you can see all kinds of things that you can't see in the center. William, do some of what has been recommended, and in the end, you will like being whole. May God bless that next transition. May God bless you, William, Lorraine, children, grandkids, as you get on with the new William.
So we covered earlier when I knew when William was ready for retirement, but we've yet to cover the second most common question I've been asked in the last 2 years, and probably the number one question you've been asked, William. What are you going to do after you retire? Well, Ren gave you a few ideas, but while this answer is still elusive, I have been able to do some investigative journalism And I was able to capture some secret footage of William preparing for retirement just a couple months ago. Here's William doing some virtual reality. Perhaps some pickleball with Charles and Liz Sharda. Maybe finally painting your living room, Lorraine. Some ultimate frisbee with the grandkids. Scheduling classes for some Christian schools throughout Ontario. Don't really know what you were doing, but you look ready. Yeah. It was better live. In all seriousness, I know that William is looking forward to spending time with his family, especially his kids and grandkids, who have somehow made it through 2 hours of boring speeches in the front row, so congratulations. As a teacher and a leader, you're often at school more than you should be, thinking about students and staff, sometimes more than your own family. But without the support of an entire family, it'd be impossible to do this job well, never mind for 43 years. So, we are blessed tonight to hear from some members of William's immediate family, so please welcome up to the stage, and I have no idea what order, the members of William's family that are going to say some words to us tonight.
Wow, I think I've laughed more than he has. Thank you very much. That was awesome. All right. I was going to come up here, but I was encouraged, deeply encouraged. For those who do not know me, I am Mr. Groot's wife. According to my calculations, William and I have known each other for 51 years. If you did the math, that means our story began at TDCH in grade 9. 43 years working in one place is a very long time. I could go on for a while, but as our grade 12 English teacher, then mentor and friend, Don James often said in our class, I'll keep it brief. Many of you know William is determined and dedicated. I could have detailed, but you've already covered that one. He desires to do his best for others and the situation. If a problem arises, he will brainstorm ideas that often result in a very logical solution. Back in the day, as far back as our high school years here at TD, we would jokingly say, where there's a wills, there's a way. If you are parents, you know sometimes when you talk to your child's teacher and they tell you what your child is like, you say, wait a minute, that's not my child at home. Well, I have to say that William is pretty much the same at home as he is at school. Non-stop, busy thinking and doing. It's like living with an ever-ready battery. From the time I have known William, his heart for bringing people, learning, and ideas together has been his passion. At the core of his being, he is a relational guy, first and foremost. It is about relationships. That passion for the best and love for people is rooted in his unwavering love and for Christ. At TD, his desire to serve God and others while working alongside students, staff, and parents was and is paramount. If you have been a student here, you probably heard him say when choosing where and what to do after graduation, do something you love. He loved teaching teenagers. As a former student, past parent, and through William's lenses, it has been amazing, just amazing to see God's handiwork upon TD Christian. God has poured his blessings on this place through the people of his choosing. May the glory of God be his alone. Finally, I am grateful beyond words to be part of William's life. We are soulmates, and that is a tremendous gift from God. We are blessed with 4 wonderful children that have the privilege of attending TD, and they will share a few highlights of life with their dad. Thank you.
So we are two of Mr. Groot's kids. I'm Rachel,
Maria,
and we have our brothers, Pete and Dan, who we would like to say did help us with this speech. We'd like to share some reflections on the different eras of our dad at TD Christian. As his kids, we had a backstage pass to his role as teachers, VP, and principal. When we were little, TDCH was where Dad went to work. We were excited to see him come home, sometimes right after school, more often after a long day of coaching, or sometimes even a week away for the grade 12 French trip. Don't worry, we all got a new t-shirt every time he came back from Quebec.
When we started going to elementary school, we began to understand what a teacher does, and imagine Dad teaching the big kids at the high school. We also got to explore the TD building and the cool things inside when we came over during the summer, like playing hide-and-go-seek in 2 hallways of lockers, and helping with computer installation with Eric and Bruce Vreeling. We spent time with Dad's colleagues. Mark often had treats for us, and we met teachers that ended up teaching us in high school. Thankfully, they didn't hold our childhood shenanigans against us.
In starting high school, we had a leg up on incoming grade 9s, given we had checked out each new building renovation before it was unveiled. Not only did we know our way to class, since Dad was in his VP of scheduling era, when we all attended TD, we also knew our class schedule. But the best perk was choosing our perfect combination lock for our locker ahead of time. For one of us, this was a pretty big deal, as it lowered the "can't get my locker open" anxiety.
Dad's passion as a teacher was evident, as all of us heard, "Your dad is such a great math teacher. He's so enthusiastic in class. He's really smart," or "he's so good at explaining things." This feedback came from students who both did and didn't like math, a true compliment. Some even thought he was cool. To be fair, he did let them paint ceiling tiles, and he even had a catchphrase, "Baby!" Dad was also a coach. He coached both Pete and me in volleyball and basketball. We were both a bit more into basketball than volleyball. In volleyball, Dad sometimes had to make the hard choice to bench his own kids after several shank serve returns.
Other memories we have of Dad and TD include staying late after school for that last meeting to finish up, van ride conversations to and from school, Dad's encouragement to pursue our endeavors, including athletics, drama, art, video production, international blog, peer counseling. And he always encouraged us to speak with teachers and build relationships with our classmates.
In December 2011, 6 months after I graduated from TD as the youngest of the 4, I and all my siblings received an email from Dad entitled "Application for Principal." He wrote, "I am not sure where it will lead, but I do believe that I should apply."
I totally believed he could do it. He has such a passion for Christian high school education and fostering a learning environment that creates connections between students, teachers and staff, parents, and the community. Dad, for Diego and I, you becoming principal was always a slam dunk, and I think the search committee agreed with us.
After we left TD, Principal Groot kept us connected to the school. We've chaperoned local and international trips. Dan has put together the notice publications, some of which you can see outside. Pete did some coaching. Rach and Peter each had their weddings here. And we had both Groot and Vanderschaft anniversaries, family reunions, and birthday parties. It brings the concept of work perk to a whole other level. The 4 of us are very grateful. Many of our experiences of Dad's principling over the past decade have been through stories or discussions. What are you working on when we stop by the house in the evening? In 2020, we heard about Dad leading the pivot to remote school during COVID, including coordinating an outdoor graduation in the parking lot and growing his hair to previously unseen lengths. We also had discussions of racial injustice with Dad and Mom during those years. As a leader of a Christian institution, I've admired my dad's bravery in not shying away from difficult conversations.
Along with becoming principal, our dad has also become a grandfather. Since he's taken on that role, I have relived some of our childhood traditions, watching my kids with Gramps, reading Bible stories, doing running hugs, and getting piggybacks to the car. Diego and I have a whole new appreciation for my parents as we raise our kids. And our kids recently got a whole new appreciation for being a principal when all three were principals for a day with Gramps this past January. In 3 short years, Lord willing, Leora will be starting grade 9, and then Adrian 2 years later, and finally Theo 2 years after Adrian. As hopeful parents of future TD Christian grads, we are so grateful for what Dad has been working for at TD Christian for more than 4 decades.
Dad, your passion for Christian education and your roles at TD Christian as teacher, vice principal, and principal have left an indelible mark on the lives of thousands of students. We did the math, and yes, it's thousands. You are leaving a legacy of passion for learning on a foundation of faith. You have led by example throughout your career and trusted in the Lord with all your heart, not leaning on your own understanding. From your big visions to daily decisions, they are rooted in prayer.
As you conclude this chapter of your journey, we look at you and we look at everyone in this room, and we are filled with pride and excitement. We look forward to seeing you embrace new opportunities and challenges, knowing that your passion and dedication to the things you love will continue to inspire. We love you. Congratulations.
Well, William said to me earlier he would love nothing more for this night to go late. So, bear with us. We're still going. We know it's going long, but when we consider all the lives you've impacted, William, we could probably go well into the morning. That said, we do want to give you a glimpse of the many people that wanted to share words with you this evening and thankfully didn't get the microphone. So, huge special thanks to Mr. Bewald, our communications technology teacher, for organizing, editing, and producing the following video. I think you'll recognize some of the faces, and I hope you enjoy hearing from so many.
Thank you so much for your intentionality and how you personally connect with people and support them beyond their teaching and education work.
Thank you, William, for the years that I've enjoyed working with you as a colleague. First, being teachers together, and then having you as the leader that I was happy to follow. Thank you for your work, and I wish you God's blessings in the future.
I love your prayerful way of leading this beautiful school. And I love the way that you take each of our gifts and nourish them, and in purposefully trying to weave them together for something greater than any of us has. Thank you.
When you initially interviewed me for a visual arts teacher here at TDCH, you prayed for me at the end of the interview. And that really stood out to me and meant a lot.
I love the way you invest yourself in other people. You can work with anybody and everybody. And I also loved how important TD is to you, not just the present, but the past and the future.
William, your leadership has shaped our school in ways that will last long after your retirement. You have a heart for students and for staff, leading with wisdom and discernment. I value the deep sense of care that you have for everyone who has entered into the halls of TD Christian and your intentionality in making all feel welcome and supported.
You prioritize people and you lead with humility, putting others ahead of yourself. We're so grateful for you, William.
I'm going to miss your passion and dedication to this community.
Will, I love that you love numbers.
You always say that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. And I truly see that in you, and thank you so much for showing it to all of us.
William, I really like it that you put people first, and that you always try to understand where they're coming from.
Thank you for always being so supportive.
In the morning, in the afternoon, or any time that I'm at school, love those greetings. I also love your beautiful little lunchbox. I just love seeing that in our meetings. And finally, I love to give you your Marzies and your blast from the past.
Thank you so much for showing what leadership should be like in a world like this.
William, you have led this community with Christ-like grace over the last 43 years. Thank you for everything. Happy retirement.
We wish you all the best on your retirement. Thank you.
So you're retiring. Isn't this fun? Isn't this exciting? Thanks for everything, William. I appreciate it.
You're retiring? Just kidding. William, it's been great to work with you over the last couple of years, especially as you've been ready to transition out of the leadership role here at TD, and I just want to wish you a lot of rest and time to, just be with family and friends. Thanks for everything.
28 years as colleagues and friends. I will miss you, William. Now, you take care.
Hi, Mr. Groot, it's Rena. I just wanted to say congratulations on your retirement and thank you so much for your passion and your dedication, not only to TD Christian, but to Christian education as a whole.
I'd like to congratulate William on his retirement and want to say thank you for his leadership in empowering, enfolding, engaging students.
Thank you for loving God and loving others well.
Happiest retirement, Mr. Groot. I wish you all of the relaxation, great food without garlic and onions, board games, travel, and whatever your heart's desire. You deserve it.
What a delight it is for me to bear witness to this big milestone in your life. My prayer for you is that this next season of life is full of adventure after adventure after adventure in Christ.
Congrats, William, on your retirement from the class of 2017.
Happy retirement, Mr. Groot, and if you get bored, you can substitute principal.
Hey, Will, on behalf of Advance, as a former colleague, and just for me personally, congrats on your retirement. So much fun working with you and being a friend to you over the years. Love you, brother.
You literally live up my street, so I'm going to keep an eye on you and make sure you're doing this retirement thing well.
I was a 13-year-old kid when I first met you, William, and now I'm a 50-year-old man on the board. You made an impact on me then, and you make an impact on me now. Congratulations, all the best.
Congratulations, Will, from one of your first students from the early 1980s, where I learned to program on the school's primitive Commodore PET computers. Thanks for your enthusiastic instruction, your care as a teacher, and for being the MC on my wedding day, and for becoming a friend over the years. God's blessings on the next chapter in your life.
I just really enjoy how welcoming you are.
I love your kindness.
I'm going to miss his amazing energy and his kindness.
Yeah, I'll miss him saying hi to me in the halls every day.
I love your positive energy.
And Mr. Groot, one thing I love about you is your resilience.
And I love how welcoming you are.
I'm going to miss Mr. Groot's enthusiasm.
Thank you for giving us this good environment so we can study in there. Thank you.
Mr. Groot, you are a very good and nice principal.
Some of my favorite things about you, Mr. Groot, are your open mind to new ideas, supporting students, always just being there when someone needs help.
I'm going to miss your encouragement and support.
I really like how you're very welcoming to new people. I love how eager you are to help people and to help fix things, solve problems, that kind of thing. I'm gonna miss calling you Principal Man. What I'm gonna miss most about you is our conversations, especially about food.
I'm gonna miss your supportive and kind and caring nature as a principal.
I like how committed you are to getting everybody involved in the school one way or another.
What I'll miss is your love of learning.
And I'm going to miss your kindness, and your patience, and your caring personality.
You're super energetic, and you're very patient with our not very good volleyball team.
Mr. Groot is a great principal for the 2 years I've been here, and I'm going to miss his quirky personality.
I'm going to miss your joyful and fun personality.
I like your commitment to the school.
The thing I'm going to miss most about you, Mr. Groot, is how cheerful you are in the hallways to every student and how nice you are to everyone.
Mr. Groot, you're like LeBron James because you're the GOAT.
I really like your cool fits.
I like your ties that you wear every day.
I love your ties.
I am going to miss your luscious gray hair. It is just fabulous. So splendid. Every day I look at it and I'm like, what is that? Is that a flock of goats? It's beautiful.
I like your glasses.
I like your outfits.
I really appreciate your enthusiasm for students' crazy ideas, such as the fundraiser ideas, and when I recorded you for the fit check last year.
My favorite thing about Mr. Groot is his smiley face tie and his smile.
I like your smile.
I loved your amazing smile.
And I'm going to miss how you're caring. I'm going to miss your amazing smile.
I will miss most is your golden smile and how you remember everyone's names.
I love how friendly you are.
I love how you're very friendly.
I love your sense of humor and your good attitude.
My favorite thing about you is your funny jokes.
I love your sense of humor.
I like your jokes.
I'm going to miss your humor.
Your sense of humor.
I'm going to miss Mr. Groot's humor. He's a very funny guy.
I will really miss your jolly personality.
I love your personality.
I'm gonna miss your personality, and it was very fun having you here.
I love how friendly you are.
Hey, Mr. Groot, I'm really gonna miss your face around the school. You're just like a really chill guy overall, and I'm really sad that you're retiring next year. I wish you all the best.
One thing I'll miss about you is the energetic energy that you bring into all the hallways and how you always make everyone smile.
I'm gonna miss how you always cared about sports.
I'm gonna miss like being on the volleyball team with you. Like you were a really good coach, and it was really fun.
I missed when you coached me for the volleyball team.
I love how you always know my name. I'm gonna miss how you knew everybody's names.
And I miss how everyone's in the halls
Just checking in on me, because like even when I'm walking into the hallway, you always say hi to me, and I enjoy it very much.
I love how you always like to talk about our days.
Your greetings in the hallway when you like greet students everywhere, just when you're walking around.
I like how you always ask me how I'm doing when I walk past you.
He acknowledges you by your name and he asks how you're doing, and I think that's really hard to do with how many kids we have in the school.
Mr. Groot, I love having conversation with you after school when I'm just hanging around and you come and start conversation, ask some personal questions. I love those conversations that I have with you.
I hope you enjoy your retirement, Mr. Groot. We're gonna miss having you around, Mr. Groot.
It's been amazing being a student in your school for so many years.
Have fun retiring, and please enjoy, and God bless you.
Thank you, Mr. Groot. Congrats on your retirement.
Thank you, Mr. Groot. You were such a great principal. We're gonna miss you. We're so honored to be your last class. Thank you.
I'll give you a couple more minutes here to compose yourself. Alright, it was Choose Your Own Adventure. Now we're going to this page. If you were here earlier, you might have noticed a painting that former student Elise Goodhoof painted for William with just a whole bunch of memories. And one of those memories, and I think Joel Sharda in the back has also experienced this, and probably anyone who's ever driven William to Midas, which is at least 50% of our staff. If you've ever driven with William, and I'm going to just share a really quick story from the first time that I ever drove with William. It was one of my first days working here. first or second, and I was a little bit nervous because, you know, William's a pretty smart guy, and I knew I had to make a good impression. So I was ready on my front porch for him. He was going to pick me up at 7:30 sharp. So it's 7:30, and I'm like, oh man, okay. I think I said it'd meet me at my house, not his house. So I'm checking back through my texts, and you know, 7:30. Okay, I think he said Monday. Monday seems like a good day of the week to start. Okay, it's Monday. 7:40 starts rolling around. 7:45. It's almost 7:50, and I'm like, I guess this is what he does with first-year teachers. He just pulls a prank on them. That's fine. All of a sudden, he comes peeling around the corner on 2 wheels. It's a miracle his car even had 2 wheels on it at the time. So I jump into the passenger side. He says, welcome to the car. We start driving. The window doesn't even open, but that's fine. So we're driving, and if you've driven down Albion, you'd know that you would hit a few different lights. How many are there on the way to school, William? 20 lights on the way to school. Every single one of those suckers is red. It's not lying, Paul. We get to one particular light, and all of a sudden he throws it into park, and he gets out of the vehicle, runs over, presses the button. Raise your hand if you've been in the car with William. But amen from the back, in front. And he jumps back in. Now, you'd think we'd be ready to wait a little bit longer, but no, we have now hopped the curb into a parking lot. Raise your hand if you've hopped into that plaza to cut the corner at Islington and Albion. Okay, good, so it wasn't just me. Like, dude, if you weren't 27 minutes late, we wouldn't have to do this. Alright. On a more serious note, William, we've continued to spend a considerable amount of time together in the last 6 years. And even more intentionally since April of 2003, when it was decided that there'd be a 2-year transition period, as your time here at TD would come to an end in July 2025, and my time as principal would begin in August. For my count, we knew this plan for 780 days. In those 780 days, we spent countless hours planning, reorganizing, making incredibly exciting and incredibly difficult staffing decisions that some people will just never know. We had the great support of our leadership team and board, but at the end of the day, it was often the two of us sitting in your office, or in your basement, or at your living room table, bearing the burdens that leadership can often bring. It's often referred to as the loneliness of leadership. So I want to thank you for being a great teammate, someone to journey beside as I continue in my own long obedience in the same direction. You never complained once or said, well, that's your problem now. Okay, you did say that once or twice. But you have worked tirelessly to the end, and have reminded me more than 100 times that you aren't retiring tonight, but rather July 31st. And while I am excited to get started, I also greatly appreciate the margin of time and energy that you've given me, and I'm grateful for these 780 days. William, thank you. And now it's time to hear from you. So please join me in welcoming to the stage, after 43 years of faithful service to TD Christian, the one and the only, the legend, Mr. William Groot.
I am ready. I'm not using that because that's too beautiful. It's just a privilege and an honor to be standing before you. I'm just amazed at these last 2 days. We had so much together as staff yesterday. It was just incredible. And I want to thank the staff. I know they're mostly over here. This is the problem when the lights are so bright. You can't see people. It's just a problem. But thank you so much, all of you, for that gift. A number of people have asked me today, so how do you manage this? And I said, really, it just comes down to this. The present is my present, and your presence is my present. Thank you so much for being here, for taking the time to be here, for taking the time to celebrate God's goodness to us. And one of the things I often write about is to people, and this was a really neat thing that we did, is we decided to write thank you cards to people. Leanne and I were talking about that, and the joy that I get out of saying thank you to somebody for what they've done for the school just fills my heart with joy. And just seeing you as I'm getting used to there's some physics around that, isn't there, David? If you wait long enough, you can see more. I'm seeing more faces now, and it's just really a blessing. So thank you. Yes, I was late. My wife was very, very gracious, and my family was very gracious today, because at one point they just went, "Ah! I can't do this," because last night I had written a speech and I threw it out this morning. I had this, it wasn't right. And I also, as Joel and Colin have been saying, well, you might cry. Yeah, I might. And then I thought, I need to have a backup just in case. He said, who's gonna finish your speech if you can't finish it? And I thought, you know what? I'm gonna put stuff on here, so if I can't make it through, you can just read until I compose myself, and we can keep it going. That's called problem solving. When I was a student at TD Christian, we call it TDCH, so let's be authentic. When I was a student at TDCH in the mid-70s, I had the thought, after my parents persuaded me that being a sports journalist was a poor choice for someone who had indicated he would like to get married and have a family, that maybe teaching was something I should consider. I was confident that I could manage a class and deliver curriculum, but the thought of standing in front of a class of students just scared me. I thought, is this possible? So I took drama, which is why I'm such an advocate of the black box and of students learning how to have a voice and learning how to express themselves and listen to other people and so on. And the rest is history. I stand in front of you today, and while I'm overwhelmed by the love shown to me yesterday and today, I'm taking every second of this with thanksgiving in my heart. I'm going to take a moment now to drink it in as I've been doing. I'm trying to see who you are. And remember, as Phil Green, who often photographed me in my role as principal, is Julie around here somewhere? Julie's been doing a great job with the photographs. Good. So, Mr. Green said, you always have to make sure that in your role as principal, you have to stop, because you're so intense, and smile, so that we can get that picture. So, I am happy. All right. We gotta make sure we get all the right things in, right? I don't know if Phil didn't tell me that earlier. Anyways, so hopefully I remember that at the last graduation. I am happy, I am blessed, I have joy, and will try not to cry too much. For the staff who were here when I started my very first devotions, I don't think any of it was said without crying. And I was so impressed at how you waited for me. And I'm sure that if I do end up being a mess, which I don't think I will be, because I think I've learned things from Peter's and from being up here that there's a way to get through this. And I think I've figured it out. But there's still no promises. And thankfully there's 2 boxes, Mini and Maxi. That's the preamble. Now, as any sensible English teacher, and I think it was really wise that Joel had Sean speak, will tell you one needs an intro with a thesis, hopefully 3 solid points. I think pastors like Albert have been trained similarly, and a conclusion. Even as a computer science and math teacher, when I had students come up with the idea of how do you decide if mathematics is discovery or invention? So what do you think it is, discovery or invention? Well, I said, when you do that, you have to start with an intro, and then you have to make your points, and then a conclusion. And that's because really I'm a closet English teacher. But I'm very pragmatic, and I realize that English teachers and phys ed teachers, there are so many of them, and there are very few good math teachers. Anyways, thankfully they're all at TD Christian. All right. I thank you for your support, your love, and your roasting. It was delectable. My message tonight focuses on what I believe to be my core values as a human, as a teacher, and as a leader. Relationship, play, and community. To make clear their importance, especially in Christian schools, I do so with the understanding that God is upholding all of us in all of these things. I will share in this journey of Thanksgiving, which was my new idea, which I didn't get done because I was late, and I was trying to get my speech finished. So some places there are gaps. I want you to think about what your core values are. What is it that makes you the unique human being that you are? What makes you God's image bearer? And how can you grow knowing who you are? Relationship is a cornerstone of life. We have a relationship with God, we have a relationship to our neighbor, and we have a relationship to our creation. And I think that's just really important. So let's get to the slides. A journey of Thanksgiving. So the first thing here, and last night when I got this idea, I wanted 47 years and 47 pictures. But I didn't fill in all the years because I didn't have enough time. I said to learn this morning, oh, if I just had more time! Which is not a surprise. All right. Commitment. My first year at TD Christian was the first of 15 years of double Christian education tuition for my parents. They gladly invested in their children's Christian elementary and high school education from 1966 to 1994. Thank you, Dad. Impactful teachers, has been a staple of TD Christian. In the 1970s as now, talented and relational Christian teachers are essential to effective learning. That there is Don James. He and others were especially important to me. Dick Van Dyke, Hans Van Doorn, Mr. Kale, and Mr. Niebuhr. And that hopefully is true for each of you who have had the experience of being in high school or schools. There are teachers that are impactful. And I'm so thankful for the impactful teachers that we have here. Each one of them reaches different students in different ways. Next. One of the things that we did in that time is we had a poetry contest where people handed in poems for our yearbook. I was involved in the yearbook. And we had the teachers actually choose 3 of them for our yearbook. And I was flabbergasted when it actually was one of the ones that were there. And that's a poem I wrote in my high school years because of the importance of what it means to be a friend of God and a friend of others. And I think that's still the same thing as I talked to Joel and I talked to Marissa. We want students to belong here. And I belonged here. And that made all the difference. These are essential elements for high school students. Don't those people just look like a bunch of hoods? That was the 70s, and it was an incredible picture of who we are and how God uses people to form these people into incredible human beings later on in their lives as well as then. Next. Family. Then as now, families choose TD Christian for their children. Whether that be from a missional point of view, a covenantal point of view, people make the choice to send their children here. This is Lorraine's family, and me at our 1978 graduation of the school. The photo was taken in the comms room, now the E-Block room, and I tell you, the painting was a lot nicer back then. Thank you so much, Mom and Dad Bennershaw. In 1982, Bill Barneveld hired me, and we coached together. He took a chance on me. He was the grade 12. He was the principal for us when I started grade 12. And I tell you, we had a couple of pretty intense arguments. I was the student council president. And if you know anything about the history at that time, Bill was here to fix up the school because it was being run by the students instead of by the, in the opinion of many people, it was being run by the students instead of by the staff. And he took a chance on me 4 years later. And we coached together. And we won the Oxford Championships in October, so I got that out of the way early. Didn't have to worry about winning a championship. I was second far too many times, as George Petrucius knows, because I lost to his and Justin Cook. Lost to those teams very often. He gave me room to grow, try new things, and connect with students in classes, clubs, and athletics. And I hope that as I have been a leader, that I've allowed students to do the same. Fun fact, TD Christian has won the Oxford Championships 3 times in the last, I don't know, how many years? 82, 86, and 92. Once I did it with my brother Ed, 82. Once with my brother Mike in 86. And once in 92 with my brother Paul. I hope that we win it before too long again. Next. Derek Sherman has come here today. In 1983, I was thrust into the role of being the computer science guy, taking care of the computers. We talked about pets. And I found something in the yearbook from Derek, because Derek and I, in that year, decided that we were going to work together, a student and myself, in the summer, to try to buy the school's first computer. And then we constructed software for it. And if you understand Derek's here, you'll understand what he's writing there. The most knowledgeable male computer studies teacher in TDCH who taught me this semester. If you don't understand that, then you don't understand Derek's humor. Anyways, a brilliant student who I really enjoyed. I don't know where you are, Derek. I can't remember where I put you. Thanks so much for coming. Great stuff. Derek went to Reedy University. Now he's a professor at Calvin. Send your kids to Calvin. Computer studies. He's really good. He's looking at AI and faith right now, which is a really interesting thing. But back then, one of the things that we did in computer science is we didn't want to send things out to be fixed. So I learned how to fix them. But then I said to Bill at that time, why don't we get students to fix it? And if we lose a few along the way, it's going to be cheaper anyways. So Derek Sherman, Eric Freeling, Bruce Freeling, Albert Coy, Mike Visser, David Datz, Greg Boothcom, they all were instrumental in pushing our computer science work further. And I think all of them are involved in technology in really incredible ways. Isn't that a testament to God's faithfulness? Amen. I love plays, and I was involved in producing the plays with my cousin in the middle center there, Marion. There's a lot of fun. One of the things we want to do at TD Christian, even back then, is how do we have projects for kids, right? Working with students in big public projects like the school play, forgot the word play, told you I was in a hurry, blesses them and the community. It forges strong relationships among students across grades, which is why I really believe in what we're doing here in Drop. And I'm really thankful for Richard Peters. Next slide. This was a really hard time for us because Sue McIver died. And that was our homeroom. That was our homeroom. And you can see how many of them looked like they were tough. But that was a really difficult time for us. And that's what part of community is. All right? Community in hard times. I have been blessed to have been involved with difficult times as well as joyous ones. And the loss of Sue was incredible through a car accident. And the way that we were able to work that through together in this home of our grade 13 students was amazing. And right there in the center of it, Michelle, is Michelle still here or not? Yeah. Michelle's right in the middle of it. Michelle Benzer, who did all the stuff for tonight. Thank you, Michelle. It was delicious. Thank you. You've already heard from Rachel about Homeroom 4. Generational. Homeroom 4 has a current board member, Carolyn Aegis on the far left, a current teacher, Jonathan Fernhout right in the middle underneath the word darkness, and 3 parents, Carolyn and Jonathan, 4, and Donna Miles in the center, and Josh Hollander on in the front desk. This is just another way that we see God's faithfulness. So what I really like is that whether it's the first time you're sending your kids here, or it's been through the generations, God gives us that ability and that desire to work together. And this, I mean, I love homeroom. So here's my homeroom. I am not afraid to tell you that they were awesome. When I look back at it, when I found this picture, there's only one kid I couldn't remember, and I felt so guilty. But I figured out it was Kellen Marrera, and I don't know where she is now, but she's in this picture. Anyways, next one. Ren Sevinga, hiring a new leader. And Ren talked about this. He's amazing. The reason, I might weep here, he's the reason that I could write my thesis. He said, William, if that's what you want to do, I'm here to let you do it. I don't know if he thought I was going to take a year off or it wasn't. He was right, I didn't. I took it over 5 years, and I thank my wife and my kids for being able to last through that. I remember summer holidays when I'm sitting behind the computer trying to finish it off. But Ren's unwavering willingness to support my desire made HDCH, not HDCE anyways. I told you I was in a hurry. Ren, I can't thank you enough for those times and for that gift. Thank you. I had the opportunity, and I think this is important too, how do we help students become leaders? I had the opportunity to work with incredible students over 11 years, student councils, and this is a shirt that I've never worn, because I just find it's really hard. And I talked to Jen Thomas, Jen Knapp, and Jeremy Ages, and Carolyn Bruckelman, who are all part of this era, and I said, I think I'm going to wash the shirt and wear it for the first time, and I think I'm going to wear it to school, and I think I'm just going to do it, because Ren said, you know, you got to do things when you get older, you just do them. And I'm just going to do that. But it was an incredible opportunity to work with students, and I just had a blast. And it was fun to bring that shirt out, because I've kept it in the closet and brought it out every once in a while going like, isn't it great to work with kids? Isn't it great to work with teenagers? It's awesome. Next. Integration and learning. One of the things I did as a computer science teacher is I wanted students to learn how to integrate their computer science work, their publishing, into other stuff. This is a book that I received from Kesa Buchman and Phil Har that I still have, where they wrote the poems, they did the publishing, they put it together and they gave it to me. What a gift! And that's what it's all about. It's all about us giving gifts to students and sometimes receiving them back. And I don't feel so helpless. I feel encouraged, and hopefully you do too. Next one, Quebec trips. Our dear friend Alice, and I know that some of you have seen this and some of you not, who I worked with for many years and went to Quebec trips. She's now with the Lord. But she started a project fund for initiatives that we have been able to do some really cool things with. And the advancement team said, you know, what if people want to give something, what do $43 to this fund will allow our students to continue doing incredible projects. But the time and the fun that I had with Alice and the students going to Quebec to, as Luke said, how do we help our students understand who our neighbor is unless we actually go and talk to our neighbors and learn about culture. Next. Innovation. I said to Ren, I think we need to do something for our math students who are really smart, who really like math. He said, what's your idea? A Pascal math class. Challenging grade 9 math students to go beyond. And this is the first class. Sorry about the shirt. That's just what we wore then. You know, some of those people are here tonight. And I'm just really thrilled to have been part of that. And I don't know if Paul's still here, but I taught Paul 8 courses. He was usually in the math. And Paul's on that picture, and it was just really exciting to see him come tonight. And also Jesse Grin, our board, is on that in the front, almost right beside me in the front right. And he's been an incredible support on the board as well. And it's wonderful again to see how God uses people in different circumstances and situations. Next one. Math colleagues. I am at heart a math teacher. I thought I was an English teacher, I was wrong. I'm a math teacher. John Templeton arrived in 1999. I want to thank him and others who I've spent considerable time with. It was amazing to work with Ish and Dick and Kathy and Ben and David. I know some of others I worked for here and there a little bit. I hope I haven't forgotten anything this morning. I was scared, you know what, that I had missed somebody. But those people have been such an important part of my life. So thank you to you 5, 6 math colleagues. Integrated block. We talked about Albert being a friend and a colleague, and I believe Michelle Burridge saw us here. to her. She was here earlier. Students taking 4 credits all afternoon. This was the whole idea of blocks that we were doing, and Albert and I came to Ren and said, we've got this really cool idea. And I think it's a thing that we've tried to do in a whole bunch of different places, and I'm really excited about how people have been able to do that. And that group there who made the yearbook, which I think is the best yearbook that we've ever made, came out of that there. And that group of people was awesome to work with. And they're involved in different places, but it was just a lot of fun. And I think the important thing in all of this is, and I tell you how blessed I am here, is how we can bless our students with new opportunities in different places. Next. Assemblies. One of the things that Ren came to TD with is we need to have assemblies. And we have some incredible talent in the school. And as a result of COVID, it's been harder to reinvigorate. But it's a place for students to connect and hone their rough talents. That's a line that Ren Seaman gave. And you can see there just the incredible stuff that students did. And I saw Rhiannon in the crowd and I thought, it took us a long time for her to play her, is it a fiddle? Is it actually a fiddle? Violin. But anyways, it was just awesome. And to get students to do that kind of stuff, I think, is something we want to do and something that I've been incredibly blessed with and you've been blessed with. Next slide. All right, there's the kids. I don't think they'll like this picture, but tough. It's a one time I could get that. I was part of their lives in high school, 2001 to 2011. And I worked with the jocks and the drama people and the nerds, and we just had a great time. And I am so thankful that they were able to have me here, and we were able to have an incredible synergy and learning that really, really ripples until today. So thank you, Pete, Dan, Rach, and Maria. All right, next. I warned Rachel about this because International Block's an incredible thing. Maria went on the trip and she did a book which inspired what we did with Notice. A book called The Willingness to Love, which is a book about what International Block's all about. But really, International Block's a lot about Rachel. And I told her I would tell the story today. So when we were making homerooms in the 90s, we always did 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, all the way, I think there was 21, all the way down. And I had met Rachel as a student at the grade 8 day, and I said to myself, she needs to be in my homeroom. So just before we did that down there, I backed things up so that she would end up in the right room. And she ended up being the queen of homeroom 4, what can I say? All right, she was awesome, and that doesn't she look the same today? That's her in grade 9. Yeah. Rach, thank you for the work, and Judy too for the work that's been done in International Block. It's an incredible thing that shows about service and about how we are to work with our neighbors. Which gives me the opportunity, because I ran out of time, I just wanted to say how thankful I am for work done by especially Colin and Rachel in the service trips. I was scrolling through my phone trying to find a picture of service trips, and I ran out of time. But I did want to say, again, service is so crucial, and the work that people like Colin and Rachel and others do for that to happen is amazing, and I think makes a difference in our kids' lives, and has made a difference in my life. So shout out to Colin. Before I get to student work, this is the other thing. When Rachel, producer, came up and said, what about your speech? Yeah, I could not for the life of me find an environmental block picture. And then, well, maybe I should be happy about it now because he's complaining about being in a king-size bed with me. But anyways, Ben Freeman's work, when we identified as a school that environmental stewardship is really important, and people like he and Jerry Klumbick who really love green uses in the earth, I couldn't get time to get the picture, but I just want to have a shout out because that's really impacted my life. It's helped me understand differently about God's creation. So shout out especially to Ben for his work in Environmental Block, which is still going strong. Notice, Phil Vreen and I were talking, and we decided we wanted to do student work. And this is where my son Dan got involved, and Jerry, and Joe Westerhoff, and Phil. And we did 10 of these books. We basically ran out of gas and said, look, it's going to be a 10-year thing. I don't know if any of them are out. We just tried to get rid of all of them. They're all gone? They're not all gone. So if you want to see incredible student work, as you walk out, there's some books still there that show incredible work by students over the years. This was our first one. It's all about the people of TD Christian High School making and doing. And for me to be part of something like that is just amazing. And for all of us to see how God works in people is amazing as we see His faithfulness. Next slide. My first leadership team, or the leadership team I was first part of. Because it's not mine. It's not my team at all. Tim Bentham, Patty Sherman, Matt Heimbach, an eclectic mix of people, for those of you who know them. Perspective, Patty, fun, Matt, vision, Tim. And it's just really neat. I couldn't find a picture, but they had it on the screen, which is why I was late too, because I took the picture on the screen and put it in the slideshow. I can't find this one anywhere. But thanks to Tim and Matt and Patty. I don't know what, Patty decided to have her kid's engagement party today. She said after, I'm so sorry. I said, well, you need to date Patty. Anyways. But she's been texting me. I'm saying this now because she wants the video after. So thank you, Patty. Thank you, Tim. And thank you, Matt. Next. This was just a blast. We have alumni coming back. And to be enfolded into this community again, they said, William, you want to be part of this? Yes, I do. I'm in the middle there with my teeth going there. And they were so creative, they said, why don't we just do a fight scene and you could be killed in a Klingon honor killing. So I got hauled off the stage, dead, after a Star Trek fight. And I feel dead now because there's no quotes in the end. Oh well. Next. Mentorship. I couldn't find a picture of Henry, but Henry came today. So I said, Henry, I gotta have a picture with you. Henry came up to me after, Henry's been the board chair. He was instrumental in helping Ren get hired here. And Henry came to me when I just started. He said, you know what, if you ever want to go out and just talk, you might need a mentor or something, just give me a call. There's no pressure. And I thought to myself, arrogant as I'm, why would I need to talk to this guy for? I've told him the story so he knows it. But after a couple years I thought, why don't I take this offer? So often we don't take offers that are right before us. And we've been meeting basically every month for what? 9, 10 years? I don't know. A long time. And his impact on my life has been incredible. So, thank you, Henry. Thank you, Mary, for letting me have Henry early in the morning for all those times. Engage students. We talked about enfolding, engaging, empowering. Came out of my Lunan work. Couldn't get a picture for that. It was really important to us. It was a beautiful community effort, which reminds me of the importance of community. And for you being out here as well today. Because it's important that we work through these things together as we seek to serve God in the place that we are. And this is students just at play and learning. And I love the way that different teachers do that. And I know physics and science is one of those places. So thank you, science people. Lots of times the art people get the glory and so on, but we see tons of really cool stuff in science. And if you didn't know, science is the course that we offer the most in TD. We have the most section of science than anything else in the school. And we sometimes forget about that. So thank you, science teachers. Cultural unfolding. A really cool idea. Culture Day. This was this year's. I had too many pictures near the end, and I thought, it's about unfolding. I'm going to say culture and unfolding and stick the picture in this year. It's really great when students understand more about each other and it blesses our learning community. If you want to see the diversity that we have, as Ren used to say, we have different stripes of Christianity, but we're all trying to seek the Lord in what we do. Just when you walk out and hang a left, look on the right and see all the different kinds of students and cultures and backgrounds of Christian students that we have here. It's an incredible blessing. And on that note, it's been an incredible blessing for us to have international students here, as Angie said. And my favorite all-time international student here is Luna. And she just got married this week, so Luna and Jose, welcome. Luna, I remember sitting in the nook with her, talking about stuff, and it was really hard for her. She got involved in the play, she got involved in stuff. Now she's working in Google and learning French. Hats off to you, Luna. Thank you so much for you and Jose coming. It's been awesome. All right, internship block. A trip to Providence back in the spring of 2014 resulted in a program that continues strong. We're going to make it a feature of our next TD because this is a way that has reached all kinds of students and has blessed me and blessed us. This is all about Thanksgiving for me. It's about seeing how God has used people in incredible ways. So Kevin Godber and Joel Sharda and I, we had 4 hours on the way back and said, let's just create a program. Justin was an event. He said, what are you doing? He said, we're creating a program. We're going to advertise this to our students because it's really good. And I can't thank Kevin and now Linda and John Terpstra and Joel Sharda for their work in that. It is an incredible program where students are actually working in neighborhoods and communities with people in the industries to figure out what that means for them. And if you want to know more about it, look at the next TD because it's an amazing story of how God uses our community and uses students' talents and gifts in other ways. Some of these students do not like school. They love internship blocks. So you see their marks, and then 99, and then 99, because they're in places where they can flourish, which is really what we want them to do. All right? Next one. STEM. Harry Hire and a woodshop program was going through for a really long time. We tried really hard to get another shop teacher. And then Kevin Godber and I, bless Kevin, he and I just kept talking, and that's what I love about Kevin. Kevin is such an encourager. I love the way he encourages. And we just started talking about, can we start something like STEM? Well, folks, Kevin started something like STEM. And where we had just 2 or 3 classes in that shop, we could fill it all the time. And actually, I think next year we'll have another teacher. Maybe I have to say, they all have another teacher. I don't know. I think it's still we, but anyways, where we might be able to use the shop every single period. And it's a STEM space. And I just want to say hats off to the people who have supported that, and for people like Kevin and Jen Krishnan, I think, is here, who have helped with that, and our student leaders. STEM is awesome, and it's another way of showing how God works through people to create incredible programs. And thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Jen. STEM. Board members. Project 2020 was a slog. It was really, really hard. It was an incredible, and if you want to look at the sign on the way out, talking about what that all looked like, Red's incredible work with that. You can read it. So the sign is just past where Liz is off to the right. But I am so thankful for the work of board members. They have been amazing. Liz Barendrot, board chairs, JD, Will, Paul, Ruth Ann, Teresa, Brad, Jordan, and Cameron. I'd like to name all the board members, but it's always the person at the top who gets the glory. I just thank you so much. You helped make this happen and make this place a great place. Project 2020. Next. Staff. I wanted to list them all. You guys listed them all already, but I just thought I got to make a picture of all the lovely people that I work with. And I wanted one that had Mark on it. Because Mark's awesome. Mark said it was 28 years. Sorry, it felt like 30. People like Mark, Ev, Phil, Judy, Fran, Allison, Richard, and Cody, Kathy are notable as I spent 30 years or more working with them. I think the first time Mark and I met was at a conference that was here, and we had to clean up vomit together. Hi, my name's Mark. Hi, I'm William. And here we are 28 or 30 years later. Anyways. Thank you to all of those staff members that are there and the ones that aren't on those pictures, because I wanted to get this picture of Mark in there with Ev and Phil. Really incredible people in the life of TD Christian who I've had the privilege of working with. Next. God's faithfulness. A lot of the students on here are grads from this year. We did this here. Joni and Colin and Mark are also hidden in there. Don't they look like grade 10s? Just an incredible thing, that the whole thing with Christina Pazik. I know that Julia Robinson is here, and the work that she did and students did in order to make sure that we had seats in the presentation, but how the whole community came together to make this happen is another thing that I'm so thankful for. And I think we can see this in this picture, that God is faithful in all these years, and He was and He will be. Mark's in the 60 there, just about 4 seats up, 4 over, 4 up, and Joni and Cullen are right near the top. Cullen's right by my right hand, Joni's 2 over from there. If you didn't find them. Next. The admin team. I say admin teams because I've had more than one, but I didn't think I'd have the other picture, but I didn't take the S out. Colin, Annika, Joel, Rachel, you are amazing. My voice is going to break, but I'm not going to cry. Incredible people who love students, love their work, and care about learning for service and letting God's Word. I have been made young by you. I don't think that you are the age you are. I feel like you are my colleagues, my friends, my co-workers in Christ. Thank you. Let's give them a hand. And this is the future. Principals for a Day. These are the kids that came out, my grandkids. Yes! Wasn't it fun? It was so fun. And truth be told, on Monday, my brother's coming to be principal today. It's twin day, and we were twins in 1993 or something like that. We're going to be twins on Monday, and he's going to come as principal today because he paid for it. And the coupon expires when I leave the place. So Paul will be here. That'll be fun. Anyways, I almost broke down when I saw that Rachel Pertuso had made this and Joel put this in his office. It comes from my favorite hymn. Strength for today and bright hope for tomorrow. And I went, whoa! If this isn't a sign, then what is a sign? It's a sign. Literally, it's a sign. I am incredibly thankful to God for Him leading Joel here. I remember talking to him at a conference I don't know what it was called, Advance or something else at that time. And he had said he'd gone into teaching. And I heard the story and I think, oh, Rachel, thank you for supporting Joel. Because I heard how that happened and I thought, she's a strong woman. And you have to be a strong woman if you're going to be, like Lorraine is, if you're going to be involved with somebody in this way. Thank you for making that sign. Thank you for reminding us that it is God's faithfulness. And God has chosen Joel for this, and this team, and this place to go forward. And I'm thrilled to support him in that work. I know he's ready to go on August the 1st. I might let him do some more stuff before then. But I'm going to stay till July 31 because I think that it's really important to fulfill your commitment. And I'm going to be thrilled to do that. But Joel, all the success. I am so happy for you. I'm so happy for the school. And may God give you the strength that you need in all of the steps that you take. I've been practicing enough. We'll see if I get through this or not. But I put the words up there. I'm going to read them because they're coming from my heart. And they're really, really important. TD Christian has been a daily part of my life for 47 years. But it is not the number of years that matters. I think we all need to understand that. It is the level of participation and commitment, whether it's 1 day, 1 month, 1 year. I have been incredibly privileged and blessed throughout all of it. And I want you to know that's what I stand up here and say. It is a privilege and a blessing. I've been told how much of a blessing I am to other people. I have been blessed immensely. We had, I think, 10 or 12 of the people from the class of 78. Shout out to Martin and Ken and all the other people. They came from Elliott and Letty. This is awesome. Thank you so much to be part of this. From 78, when we were here together, and to be here now together is just awesome. Bill, Mon, yeah, all of them. Ed came here too, so cool. Families started choosing TD Christian for their children in 1963. I pray that many more will for years to come. Please tell them about it. And then they got to get their stuff in early because they only have so much space. God has really blessed us that way too. This whole take care thing, I'm going to tell the students about this too, about taking care. They talk about Williams Words of the Week. Tim Walden said, can we do this? I said, yeah, we can. It's three things. It's try, which is what my mother always said, try, you have to try. And trying doesn't mean go, I'm trying. No, trying actually means taking a step. And taking a step in faith. And if the step's wrong, God's going to give you the right place to go. And persevere, because sometimes we don't know. We don't know where it's going to go. But we have to keep going, because His promise is with us. It's always with us. And through it all, we do so because our Lord cares for us, and we are called to take care. That's why I always end off with, take care. Because that's what God wants us to do, because He takes care of us. He wants us to take care of others, of ourselves, and of the world. Let's praise together now for His great faithfulness as we sing, Great is Thy Faithfulness.
When Kevin asked me to introduce this song, I thought it'd be remiss. The title of the song is Great is Thy Faithfulness. And tonight has been a celebration of God's faithfulness to this school through generation after generation. And in doing so, we've heard about all of the people that He's used in that process, leadership that has been faithful to the vision of what this school was intended to be. And so let's sing this song, remembering God's faithfulness to this place, through these people, through all these years.
we would like to sing for you a benediction. It's written by an Englishman, John Rutter, and it is the words of Numbers 6:24. The Lord bless you and keep you. And while we're singing this benediction, for all of you, we would like all of you to focus, of course, on Wayne. Of course, we wish the Lord to bless you and keep you.
Awesome. Well, in 37 years from now, remind the person to not let me do the scheduling for the program. But thank you for your patience. I think it was beautiful, William. I hope that you felt honored. Thank you, choir. I'm going to invite a former parent and former board member, Ms. Peggy Raspa, to close in prayer, and then I'll end with a few instructions, and we'll have you back here.
I just wanted to take a moment. I know that, I wanted to take a moment to say thank you. Thank you to everybody who came here, who wanted to come here and was not able to come here, who reached out to William separately or here today. Thank you for coming and honoring him. I believe that there's great value, and the word says that there's great value in honoring our fathers and mothers. And William, you honored many people who were your fathers and mothers, and it has been a pleasure to watch you being honored here. And thank you to the teachers and the staff and the committee who put all of this together. Thank you to the choir. I just wanted to close in prayer, if that would be okay. And if you could just close your eyes and we'll say thank you to the Lord together. Father God, I thank you so much for your faithfulness. I thank you for your faithfulness to Lorraine and William and their family. I thank you for your faithfulness to the TDCH community. I thank you to your faithfulness to each and every person who is here. Lord, I just want to take a moment to thank you for giving us a picture of what heaven will be like. It will be full of grace and love and honor and beauty and wonder. And Lord, we just want to thank you most of all for your faithfulness to this school, to this institution, for using William and many, many other people over the generations. And Father God, as I stand here, I thank you for William, and I thank you for how much he has worked with Joel, and I pray for Joel and Rachel and their family. I thank you for the community that will continue on, and I ask that your blessing would be upon TDCH for generations to come. And I would just like to speak a blessing. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May he cause his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. May he turn his face toward you and give you peace. Thank you for coming tonight.
Thanks, Maggie. Just one quick housekeeping item for those of you who are here sitting in a reserved seat with William. You are going to actually head out first with our photographer, Julia, to take a group picture. So you're going to head to the presentation center. So I know everyone's ready. A couple of you have to preach in about 3 hours. But if we could just let the family go out first, that would be great, and then we will go from there. So, William, take care.